Why is it so cold? Ningyi sat down in front of the fire and stretched out a pair of small hands to warm them over the fire. The person who chased her was eliminated, and Ningyi relaxed. Lin Moyu knew that the low temperature here was due to the skeleton warriors. Immediately let the skeleton warriors scatter. Ningyi already knew that Lin Moyu didn't like to talk, so she just talked about it on her own. I found a treasure chest of chance in the camp of the Cayman Orc Legion in Shanghai City. You also know that this kind of treasure chest appears randomly, and it happened to be discovered by me. I opened the treasure chest and got this intermediate skill scroll. Then those guys saw me acquire it. They wanted to snatch my mid-level skill scroll. Although it's not worth much, how can I hand over what I obtained? So they hunted me down, and I ran away. Fleeing for 2 days, from Shanghai City to Shihai City, do you think they are annoying, like bedbugs? From Ningyi's words, it can be heard that even an intermediate skill scroll worth 10 million gold coins is still nothing in her eyes. I don't know which family she is from, I can only say that she is too rich. Lin Moyu looked at Ningyi, and waited for her to finish speaking before softly saying, "You almost died just now." Ningyi said, "Don't worry, I can't die. When I get fatal damage, I will be teleported away automatically. But I still have to thank you. If it wasn't for you just now, although I wouldn't die, I would definitely be injured. You have to know that being injured is very painful, and E is most afraid of pain." Well, Lin Moyu felt that it was needless to worry. People have treasures, so they can't die. Ningyi stretched out her hand. "I've given you all the intermediate skill scrolls. Is there anything to eat?" "I'm not full yet." Lin Moyu took out a few steamed buns. The steamed stuffed buns were the spoils just now, and there were more than a dozen of them. Ningyi shook her head. "I don't want buns, I want sweet potatoes." Lin Moyu couldn't help laughing, and replaced the buns with sweet potatoes. "It's not too bad, Miss Ben doesn't want to eat things from dead people." Ningyi took the sweet potato and ate it happily. "Is this sweet potato so delicious?" Looking at the way Ningyi ate, it seemed really delicious. "Lin Nerd, are you here to level up? Judging by your level, you probably haven't gone to a higher education institution yet." Ningyi asked while eating. Lin Moyu nodded, "No." Ningyi is already used to Lin Moyu's speaking habits. "Then which higher education institution are you planning to go to?" "Xiaojing Academy." Lin Moyu said softly. "Well, Xiaojing Academy is very good." Ningyi didn't seem surprised to hear about Xiaojing Academy. In her opinion, with Lin Moyu's strength, it is no problem to be admitted to any university. No one can easily kill a level 20 professional at level 10, let alone 3. If even Lin Moyu can't get into Xiaojing Academy, then no one can get in. Ningyi suddenly thought of something, her eyes sparkled. "If you go to Xiaojing Academy, remember to challenge their god Shada. And if you challenge for the first time, the reward can be doubled. You try to rush up, and the higher the number of floors, the better. This way you will get more points. In Xiaojing Academy, points are more useful than gold coins. Also, there is a school of creative theology in Xiaojing Academy. If you can, you must go enter it." Ningyi seemed to know Xiaojing Academy very well, and talked to Lin Moyu about the situation of Xiaojing Academy. In her words, Lin Moyu had a general outline of Xiaojing Academy in his mind. 99% of the time, Ningyi was talking, Lin Moyu just listened, and occasionally responded. Ningyi lost her voice while talking. Lin Moyu took out a piece of clothing and used it as a quilt for Ningyi, while he began to meditate. The next day, the sun was shining. Lin Moyu was full of energy and woke up from meditation. Ningyi was looking at him, her big eyes blinking. "Is there any sweet potato?" Ningyi smiled and stretched out her hand. Lin Moyu directly took out a piece of sweet potato and handed it to her. "Not enough, give me more." Lin Moyu took out another piece. "Can you stop being so stingy? It's just sweet potatoes, you can't give more." "Yes, a big man should be generous, and give them all." Lin Moyu almost gave Ning-yi all the 20 or so pieces of sweet potatoes he had with him, leaving none for himself. That's all of them? Ning-yi still didn't believe it. She wanted to get into Lin Moyu's storage space like that. Lin Mo nodded and said, "It's really all of them." Ning-yi let Lin Moyu go. Okay, I believe you. I'm leaving, and I am going to upgrade too, idiot Lin. See you later. Hurry up and level up, and you can take me to level up later. Ning-yi left very simply, taking away the sweet potatoes and the clothes that were used as a quilt. After Ning-yi left, Lin Moyu said to himself, "I will take you to upgrade later." After a whole night, the goblin monster here still did not appear. The monster refresh time was far beyond Lin Moyu's expectation. He felt that he killed too fast. There was a faint smell of blood in the forest. 3 bodies were lying on the ground. Lin Moyu looked at the corpse and silently used the skills he just learned yesterday. The corpse burst. With a loud bang, large areas of trees were blown to pieces. It's not the kind that blows up, but the real solid bang. A large pit appeared on the ground, 20 meters in diameter. The depth is also more than 10 meters. The power is very impressive. Lin Moyu found that the damage range of the corpse burst is 360 degrees in all directions. From this point of view, the power of the volley detonation may be a little bit greater. What he detonated just now was the mage's corpse. Commanded the skeleton warrior to throw the archer's body into the air. He launched his skill at the mid-air corpse. There was another loud bang, which was more powerful than before, confirming his guess. If it explodes in the air, it will be more powerful. However, the corpse burst also has a disadvantage, that is, it is easy to accidentally injure any allies. Neither he nor the skeleton warrior will be accidentally injured, but it is hard to say about any allies who form a team with him. There was another loud noise in the forest, and the knight's body was also detonated. The 3 of them completely lost any trace of their existence, not even a scum left. It has to be said that the skill of bursting corpses is also a first-class skill for destroying corpses and eradicating traces. Lin Moyu walked towards Shihai Mine as he thought yesterday. There is the lair of goblins. As they get closer to the West Sea Mine, the level of the goblin group is gradually increasing. Level 12 Goblin Warrior. Level 13 Goblin Archers all appeared one by one. But in the face of skeleton warriors with extraordinary attributes, it is useless. After a night of meditation, Lin Moyu summoned 4 more skeleton warriors. At this time, the number of skeleton warriors has reached 48. With the skill level of summoning the skeleton warrior raised to level 10, the skeleton warrior from the black iron level became a bronze level skeleton warrior. The requirements for mental strength are also getting higher and higher. Summoning a skeleton warrior now requires 70 points of spiritual power. Lin Moyu only has 300 spiritual power in total. Still the same as before, only 4 can be summoned at a time. But Lin Moyu is very satisfied. One day, the summoning space will be full, and he is not in a hurry. Getting closer to the copy of the West Sea Mine, the number of people began to increase. The monsters going to the dungeon road are basically cleared. Soon Lin Moyu saw the entrance of the instance, a vortex similar to the novice dungeon, only bigger. The diameter of the vortex in the novice dungeon is at most half a meter. The entrance of the copy of the West Sea Mine in front of me is 1 meter in diameter. A bloodthirsty aura continued to emanate from the vortex. The faint of heart will feel frightened just by smelling it. Normal difficulty. Group of 3 missing 1, needing a healer. Normal difficulty. There are mages and healers, and a knight. Mine Dungeon Elite Team, Nightmare difficulty. There are knights, mages, assassins, lack of nurses and control system support. Nightmare difficulty must pass the team standards, lacking a knights, another was lacking a healer. At the gate of the dungeon, many people are waving flags and shouting, looking for team members. There are also many people standing in front of the copy entrance, they seem to be discussing something. Lin Moyu walked towards the entrance of the instance with a skeleton warrior. The other skeleton warriors were all put away by him. Passive skills are still effective even in the summoning space. Lin Moyu has no worries about his safety. Click. Click. Skeleton warriors make bone-grinding noises when they walk clack clack clack. The soul fire kept beating in the skull, and with gusts of wind, the temperature dropped several degrees. The appearance of the skeleton warrior was too scary, and the arrival of Lin Moyu caused a lot of panic. Many people retreated one after another and offered to make way for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu came to the entrance of the dungeon and checked the information of the dungeon. It's a real copy, not a place for novices to level up like a novice copy. The level of the mine dungeon is not high, there are only normal and nightmare difficulties, and there is no hell difficulty. There is an elite monster in normal difficulty, several times stronger than the monsters outside. Nightmare difficulty has even more enhanced elite monsters, and the difficulty is even higher. Normal difficulty is usually a 3-person team, a meat shield, a DPS, and a healer. The nightmare difficulty is a 5-person team, which requires dual support and dual output. From this, the difference in difficulty can be judged. The skeleton warrior just stood beside Lin Moyu, without any movement. Finally someone had the courage to talk to Lin Moyu. "Young man, are you a summoner?" Lin Moyu didn't answer and just ignored him. A detection technique fell on him and the skeleton warrior. A red light suddenly appeared from the hollow and sunken eye sockets of the skeleton warrior, and he looked towards the person using the detection technique. This action startled the man, and he hid like a tortoise. The detection technique failed, and no information was obtained. Lin Moyu was wearing the shield badge given by Ningyi. Anyone who does not exceed him by 10 levels cannot check his information through the detection technique. Lin Moyu didn't let the skeleton warrior do anything, it was just a detection technique, not enough. "Young man, do you want to brush the dungeon together? We still lack an output here. You should be a summoner. The output of a summoner is also very good. Do you want to go together? We are an elite team, playing on nightmare difficulty. If equipment is found, we will share it equally." Everyone seemed to realize that Lin Moyu was not easy, and invited him to form a team one by one. But Lin Moyu still ignored him. After checking the dungeon information, he chose the nightmare difficulty. "Please confirm whether to choose nightmare difficulty." "Confirm." Lin Moyu was sent into the copy. He entered the copy. He entered the copy alone. No, he wants to solo, he is too arrogant. You can't say that. What if someone has strength? It's not like no one has swiped alone. The friend who used the detection technique just now, tell me about the information you got, how many levels, what occupation. That's right, his summons are undead, I've never seen them before. The person who used the detection technique was slightly embarrassed. I didn't get any information, he should be wearing a shielding badge. Well, let's wait and see if he can come out alive. Maybe it's a guy who is not good at anything. He looks scary, and he might be very weak. Outside the dungeon, many people showed expressions of watching the show. Every year, because of arrogance, there are many people who die in the dungeons, because of their pride. The mine dungeon is just like its name, the terrain in the dungeon is really like a mine. The dungeon is full of oppressive atmosphere, and it also has a strong smell of blood. In front of Lin Moyu is a huge iron door. Opening the iron door means that the dungeon is officially opened. Behind the iron gate, there is a monster more than 2 meters high roaring. It has found Lin Moyu. As long as Lin Moyu dares to open the iron door, it will rush over and tear Lin Moyu apart immediately. Through the iron gate, Lin Moyu threw a detection technique. Goblin Mine Guard, Enhanced Elite Monster. Level, 14. Power, 800. Agility, 400. Spirit, 200. Physique, 1000. Skill, Stun Attack. As expected of a strengthened elite monster, its attributes are several times higher than ordinary monsters. High strength and physique, high attack and high defense. For a level 14 knight profession, the physical attribute is only between 300 and 400, which is far worse than the enhanced elite monster in front of him. If you don't form a team and everyone cooperates, it will be difficult to lay down a nightmare-level dungeon. But these attributes are still far inferior to those of his own skeleton warriors. Lin Moyu released the skeleton warriors from the summoning space, and in a blink of an eye the room was full of skeleton warriors. Then he opened the door and officially started the dungeon tour. The goblin mine guard roared excitedly and rushed out from behind the iron gate. What greeted it was the broadsword of the skeleton warrior. It is tall and burly, much taller than the skeleton warrior. Likewise, its dexterity is low, as is its wisdom. The big knife of the skeleton warrior fell on him, immediately causing a series of hideous and terrifying wounds. With its attributes, even a one-on-one battle with a skeleton warrior would surely lead to death. What's more, it is facing the siege of skeleton warriors. There are at least 5 or 6 skeleton warriors cutting around it. In just 2 seconds, it fell down with a scream. Killed a level 14 goblin mine guard, experience plus 4,200. After receiving the prompt, a flash of excitement flashed in Lin Moyu's heart. The experience is about 10 times higher than that of monsters of the same level in the world. Killing one monster here is equivalent to 10 monsters outside, and killing monsters is only a second or 2, not much slower. In this way, the leveling speed will naturally be faster. Lin Moyu felt that he should be looking in the right direction, and immediately issued an order. The skeleton warriors flashed into the dungeon channel with a click, like an unstoppable army, rushing all the way. Killed a level 14 goblin mine guard, experience plus 4,200. Obtain bone x5. Killed a level 14 goblin mine guard, experience plus 4,200. Obtain fur x6. Multiple messages appear. Experience began to grow rapidly, and materials continued to increase. A detailed map of the dungeon in Lin Moyu's mind quickly formed. A copy of the mine, as its name suggests, is a mine. There are many passages inside, extending in all directions. No matter which channel you choose, you will eventually reach the end of the copy. Generally speaking, other teams will choose one of them to move forward. Unlike Lin Moyu, there are skeleton warriors in every passage. He will not let go of all the monsters in the corner, and kill all the monsters in every direction. Just 5 minutes after entering the dungeon, Lin Moyu had an upgrade glow. Finally, level 11. After the upgrade, his mental power was fully recovered, and Lin Moyu immediately summoned 4 skeleton warriors to join the team. The number of skeleton warriors has also reached 56. Name, Lin Moyu. Occupation, Necromancer, unique. Level, 11, 0%. Power, 120. Agility, 120. Spirit, 40 out of 400. Physique, 120. Equipment, none. Summon space, 56 of 110, skeleton warriors, quantity, 56. Talent, comprehensive amplification, level 2, unique, passive skill, damage transfer. Active skills, soul flame, level 10, summon skeleton warrior, level 11, corpse burst, level 1. Comprehensive amplification, level 2, the effects of all skills are increased by 20 times. Damage transfer, all damage suffered by the wizard itself is borne by the summoned object. Soul flame, level 11, burns the target's soul, causing burning damage. The power depends on one's own spiritual power and skill level. Summon skeleton warrior, level 11, summon a bronze rank skeleton warrior. Corpse burst, level 1, detonate the corpse, and cause damage equal to 10% of the corpse's HP to enemies within 1 meter. Viewing his own properties. After level 10, the increase in basic attributes becomes larger. Strength, agility, and physique used to increase by 10 points per level, but now it has become 20 points. Spiritual power increased by 100 points. As the level increases, the subsequent attribute increase will become larger and larger. Lin Moyu understood this truth after checking over his stats. The skills have been improved again, and the four-dimensional attribute of the skeleton warrior has reached 3,400. The basic attribute has been increased by 20 points, and it has been magnified by 20 times. The final result is an increase of 400 points. All changes were largely expected. Only the corpse explosion skill he just acquired is still at level 1 and has not changed. Why? Lin Moyu felt puzzled why his soul flame and summoning skeleton warrior skills had been improved. The corpse burst skill has not changed. He couldn't figure it out. This situation is beyond the scope of his knowledge and has touched the blind spot of knowledge. If Ningyi was here, maybe she would know. Lin Moyu thought of Ningyi, a cute girl who likes to play tricks and can talk non-stop. The knowledge she knows is also much richer than himself. If she knew, he could find out. Temporarily suppressing the doubts in his heart, he continued to move towards the depths of the dungeon. There are 8 passages in the mine copy, and each passage is connected to each other. It looks like a maze, but these channels all eventually converge. Lin Moyu evenly distributes the skeleton fighters in each channel, not letting a single monster go. A lot of experience has increased, pushing his level to rise steadily. The efficiency is much faster than in the outside world. When he walked out of the passage, the monsters in the passage had been completely swept away. Level 11, 32.22%, almost a third done. It took less than half an hour before and after, and the efficiency was very high. After passing through the maze-like mine tunnel, you entered the second half of the dungeon. As far as the eye can see, there is a huge passage with a length of 1 kilometer. On both sides of the passage are cells-like rooms. There are huge iron gates outside the house, which look like prisons from a distance. The cries of beasts continued to come from inside, echoing in the huge passage. In addition to the bloodthirsty smell, there was a fishy smell in the air. A huge monster stood in the middle of the road. This monster looks like a wolf or a dog, and it is more than 1 meter high just lying on the ground. If you stand up, the overall height can exceed 3 meters. The body length is more than 5 meters. The detection technique fell on the monster like a breeze. Mine Wolf King, Elite Leader, Level 15. Power, 2000. Agility, 2000. Spirit, 1000. Physique, 2500. Skill, Roar. Lin Moyu encountered a boss-level monster for the first time, and it was also an elite boss. Although the four-dimensional attribute is still not as good as the skeleton warrior, it is much stronger than other mobs. The attributes of the side boss has reached this point. It seems that the attributes of the final instance boss will be even stronger. But it shouldn't surpass the skeleton warrior, otherwise no one will be able to beat this copy. It is normal for nightmare dungeons to have this level of difficulty. Generally speaking, those who have the ability to clear the dungeon with nightmare difficulty will definitely surpass the level of the dungeon. An elite team of 5 members may have an average level of 17 or 18, and the equipment can't be too bad, and the skills need to be strong. Otherwise, it would be impossible to pass a copy of the nightmare difficulty. It is unusual for someone like Lin Moyu at level 10 being able to solo a nightmare dungeon. Affected by the detection technique, the Mine Wolf King woke up from his deep sleep. It stood up slowly, its huge wolf body over 5 meters high. Lin Moyu and the skeleton warriors are not even as tall as its legs. The scarlet wolf looked at Lin Moyu, exuding a bloodthirsty aura. Terrible oppressive feeling swept the whole body. Superior. Lin Moyu gave the order. 56 skeletons rushed towards the Mine Wolf King like lightning. The Mine Wolf roared fiercely, and its skills exploded. A strong shockwave ejected from its mouth. The 30 or so skeleton warriors rushing forward were all sent flying. The mine walls on both sides shook, and countless rocks fell. Lin Moyu, who was standing tens of meters away, felt the rush, with a hint of surprise on his face. This skill is a group skill, and it has a shock effect. It was the first time he saw that the skeleton warrior would be blown away. The skeleton warriors were blown away and fell to the ground one after another, hitting the rock wall, looking a little embarrassed. Lin Moyu didn't have the slightest worry on his face. He could feel that the skeleton warrior was just blown back. In fact, the damage received is not great. A physique of 3,400 points is not small here. The defense of the skeleton warrior is already very strong. The skeleton warrior got up quickly and rushed to the Mine Wolf King again. The cracks created in the attack just now also quickly disappeared, and they recovered in a blink of an eye. The soul fire is still strong. Use single-shot skill. Those skeleton warriors who were not blown away had already rushed to the Mine Wolf King and slashed at them with their big knives flashing red. Blood splattered, skin was ripped apart, and bones were visible deep in the wound. The Wolf King screamed again and again. Many skeleton warriors leapt high and came directly to the Mine Wolf King. With red lights on their knives, they activate their skills. This scene is very similar to what Lin Moyu saw when he changed jobs. This is how the skeleton warriors hacked the dragon to death. The Mine Wolf King is not as huge as a giant dragon, nor is it as powerful as a giant dragon. The attack power of the skeleton warrior is even higher than it, and each knife can cause considerable damage. The Mine Wolf King was rolling like crazy, his huge body slamming into the rock wall of the mine constantly, trying to throw off the skeleton warriors on his body. The skeleton warrior's palm firmly grasped its flesh and blood, making it difficult to shake off. The skeleton warriors on the ground also chased after it, and landed on its legs with a knife. The big knife fell on the bone, making a metallic sound, and the Wolf King screamed incessantly. Its claws slapped the skeleton warrior, and the huge impact knocked the skeleton warrior away. The skeleton warrior was not seriously injured, and ran back in a blink of an eye. It used its mouth to bite, but the result was that its teeth broke. The physique of the skeleton warrior is as high as 3,400, which is extremely strong. What's the use of being big, just die. Looking at this scene, Lin Moyu felt something in his heart. Although the huge body shape brings a stronger sense of oppression and greater strength, but it also becomes its weakness. As long as the defense is not strong enough, it cannot block the attack of the skeleton warrior. The result can be imagined. In just a few seconds, the Wolf King was on the verge of death. Roar. There was another violent roar. The Mine Wolf King activates his skills for the second time. This time it used all its strength. The flying effect of the roaring skill was also brought to its limit. The shock wave swept through, finally knocking out all the skeleton warriors on his body. Even the skeleton warriors around were blown away together. The attack power of the skill is mediocre, but the pushback effect is really good. Lin Moyu looked at the skeleton warrior flying out like a god, with no expression on his face. Visually the skills of the Wolf King look very strong, but in reality, the skeleton warrior did not suffer much damage at all. Sure enough, those skeleton warriors rolled over after falling to the ground, and then ran back one by one. The Mine Wolf King suddenly turned around and limped towards the passage. Escaping? Lin Moyu was slightly taken aback unexpectedly. The leader of the dungeon will still escape. The Mine Wolf King fled into the tunnel, roaring all the way. Other monsters seemed to be responding to its cry, and wolves howled in the passage. Something doesn't seem right. Lin Moyu felt that there was something wrong, and instead of letting the skeleton warrior chase him, he let the skeleton warrior retreat to his side. Crunch! Crunch! The iron doors on both sides of the passage were opened amidst its roar, and bloodthirsty wolves came out from behind the door. Mine Wolf. Level 14. Power 600. Agility 600. Spirit 200. Physique 1000. Skill, Bite. Under the detection technique, the information of these ferocious wolves can be seen at a glance. The attributes are not very strong, even weaker than the goblin mine guard in the mine tunnel. But there are too many, at least hundreds of them. With so many ferocious wolves galloping forward together, the aura is enough to make one's skin tingle. Lin Moyu is not afraid. Although there are many mine wolves, their attributes are not strong, and their own skeleton warriors are enough to deal with them. but he also thought of a problem. How do other teams deal with the fierce wolf? He didn't believe that a team of just 5 professionals could compete with so many ferocious wolves. Looking at the surrounding environment and seeing the mine passage behind him, he immediately understood. The exit of the mine passage is not large, and at most one person can enter at the same time. Then as long as the knight can hold the channel, the treatment assistant can carry out the heals. Then the mage attacks with group attack skills. At most, it will take a little time to wipe out the mine wolves. Lin Moyu had a good idea, and other teams did the same. But one thing he didn't know was that other teams would not encounter so many mine wolves. Generally, there are more than a dozen mine wolves. This has something to do with him clearing out all the monsters in the mine passage. Lin Moyu came to the mine dungeon for the first time, and he didn't know the mechanisms. There is no such knowledge in books. But then again, even if he knew, he would definitely clean up all the monsters. How could Lin Moyu let go of so much experience? As for difficulty, was it difficult for him? From entering the dungeon until now, he only ordered a few times in his mind. Not even causing a drop of sweat. There are so many mine wolves, in his eyes, it is a lot of experience. The skeleton warriors circled round and round, firmly protecting Yao Moyu. The fierce mine wolves rushed over and collided with the skeleton warriors one after another. The mine wolf is very fierce, constantly biting the skeleton warrior. The sharp claws were like knives, falling on the skeleton warrior. It's a pity that their attack power is not strong enough to deal enough damage to the skeleton warrior. Wait until all the mine wolves have gathered. With the thought of Lin Moyu, 5 of the skeletons attacked same mine wolf at the same time. Flesh flew everywhere. Each of the 5 skeletons stabbed together, and the wolf of the mine screamed and fell to the ground just 2 seconds later. Kill level 14 mine wolf, experience, plus 2,800. Get wolf skin x3. Lin Moyu's mouth curved gracefully. At the same time, brilliance lit up in the palm of his hand. The corpse exploded. With a loud bang, the body of the mine wolf was detonated. The damage is 10% of the life value of the mine wolf. The explosion range is 1 meter. And then doubled 20 times through talent. All enemies within 20 meters from the corpse will suffer damage equal to 200% of the vitality of the corpse. It is equivalent to these ferocious wolves having to bear 200% of their own vitality damage. No wolf can afford it. HSCK. No doubt a hack. Kill level 14 mine wolf, experience, plus 2,800. Acquire wolf fur x2. Kill level 14 mine wolf, experience, plus 2,800. Obtain bones x3. Kill level 14 mine wolf, experience, plus 2,800. Acquire wolf fur x4. In an instant, the prompt popped up like swiping the screen. The experience shot off like a rocket. In the blink of an eye, the experience went from 32% to 72%. One attack, gained 40% experience. This speed is astonishingly fast. Lin Moyu was also speechless secretly. The corpse bursting skill was too strong, terrifyingly strong, not to mention whether it can be compared with those forbidden spells of the mage. At least at this level, this skill is invincible. At this time, the Mine Wolf King came back with a limp, his eyes filled with horror. Why did its subordinates die in an instant? What happened to the explosion just now? With its wisdom, it can't figure it out. It happened that there were several corpses of mine wolves under its feet. Treat everyone equally, try it too. Lin Moyu's eyes were cold, and his palm shimmered. The corpse exploded. Boom boom boom. With 3 consecutive beeps, 3 corpses were detonated at the same time. There was a scream, and the Mine Wolf King was covered in blood. Flesh and blood had disappeared in most places, only bones remained. In some places even the bones were broken. Woo! The Wolf King let out a final cry. After the huge body shook several times, it crashed to the ground. Originally, it had already been seriously injured, and it couldn't bear such a severe injury at all. Killed a level 15 Mine Wolf King, experience, plus 15,000. Acquire the sharp teeth of the Wolf King. Obtain low-level monster crystal nucleus. Only 15,000 experience, the price/performance ratio is very low. The strength of the Mine Wolf King is so high, and the experience is only 15,000, so the price/performance ratio is really not high. It is equivalent to the experience value of 5 Mine Wolves. However, for boss-level monsters, the pursuit is not experience points, but the items it will drop. The sharp teeth of the Wolf King are materials for making weapons, and the price is not low on the exchange. Monster crystal cores can be used to make jewelry, increase attributes, and are also valuable. Monster crystal cores can only be dropped by monsters above the boss level, and they are not a mandatory drop. This also keeps the price of the monster crystal nucleus high. Walking through the aisle, the disgusting stench hits the face. Lin Moyu couldn't help covering his nose. In the long, kilometer passage, all the iron gates have been opened, and the inside is empty. All the ferocious wolves have been wiped out, clean. At the end of the passage a huge mine pit appeared. The diameter of the mine pit is more than a kilometer, and it is completely dark and invisible. There is a passage spiraling down, and there are many goblin monsters on the passage. They wear armor and hold large knives in their hands. In groups of 2, they patrol back and forth in the passage. Elite Goblin Warrior, Enhanced Elite Monster. Level, 15. Power, 900. Agility, 800. Spirit, 400. Physique, 900. The attribute is much worse than that of the wolf boss, and none of them breaks 1,000. Lin Moyu didn't take it seriously at all. With a wave of Lin Moyu's hand, the skeleton army has rushed into the mine. Facing the tide of skeleton warriors, these enhanced elite monsters are powerless to resist. One after another was killed. Kill level 15 goblin elite fighters. Experience, plus 4,500. Obtain animal bones x6. A series of prompts kept popping up. Lin Moyu gave the order to fight freely and quickly cleaned up the monsters in the mine. Although the enhanced elite monsters aren't very strong, they have rich experience and enough materials. It's strangely high quality. Compared with ordinary monsters in the outside world, the cost performance is much higher. In the future, if you go to the hell-level dungeon to brush alone, you should get more experience. If anyone knew that Lin Moyu had this idea, they would probably want to spit on him. Soloing a hell-level dungeon, throughout the history of the human race, no one has ever done it. Alternatively, there are some great people who have single-handedly swept nightmare-level dungeons, and they have already been recorded in the annals of history for this. It's just a dream being able to brush a hell-level dungeon alone. People have tried, and those people died and never returned. Lin Moyu walked all the way down the passage, and the monsters along the way have been cleaned up. When he reached the bottom of the mine pit, the experience had reached 99%. He's just one step away from upgrading. At this time only the last boss remains in the entire dungeon. As long as he kills it, he should be able to reach level 12. It took just over an hour to enter the dungeon, and it was upgraded by more than one level. Efficiency far exceeded expectations. In this way, it only takes a few rounds of nightmare difficulty, not to mention level 16, even level 18, level 19 is not difficult. As long as this is the level requirement, entering Shoujing Academy is a certainty. Sister, we will meet soon. Thinking of Lin Mohan, Lin Moyu rarely smiled. The big boss of the mine dungeon sits in the middle of the mine, with a big mouth, constantly swallowing air. The sound of breathing was like thunder, oscillating back and forth in the empty mine. Every breath can whip up a hurricane. Lin Moyu was almost blown off his feet. This big boss has no knowledge of what is happening outside. That state is similar to that of the underworld. But it's just asleep. The detection technique blows past like a breeze. King of Goblins, leader level monster. Level, 16. Power, 3,000. Agility, 1,500. Spirit, 1,500. Physique, 3000. Skills, Flame Jet, Sweep, Knockback. Compared with the Mine Wolf King, its attributes are not much higher, and its strength and physique are slightly stronger. Lin Moyu even thought that his skeleton warrior could fight it one-on-one. The detection technique awakened it, and slowly opened its eyes to look at Lin Moyu. Then with a roar, it jumped up. Wielding a giant sword in his hand, he slashed towards Lin Moyu's head. The big knife fell on the head with a terrifying wind pressure. Lin Moyu did not move or dodge. His eyes were extremely calm, even with a hint of sarcasm. The seemingly terrifying knife stopped suddenly when it was 10 centimeters away from Lin Moyu. It was as if there was an invisible force that made it difficult for the big knife to move forward. Damage transfer. All attacks that Lin Moyu receives will be borne by the summoned creature. Lin Moyu suddenly frowned, because he felt that the skeleton warriors were all injured. The soul fires of all the skeleton warriors jumped violently, and the light on their bodies dimmed by 3 points. At the same time, fine cracks appeared on the bones. How so? Lin Moyu was taken aback, a little puzzled. He was seldom surprised, even when the big knife was coming towards him just now. He was extremely calm, and he didn't even blink his eyes. It was his first time to kill 3 people in a row last night, and he was equally calm. In his eyes, there is no difference between killing people and killing monsters. It's not that he's cold-blooded. It was his sister Lin Mohan who once told him to keep calm no matter what happened. In times of danger, only when remaining calm can he survive. He retreated quickly, and the skeleton warrior rushed to the Goblin King and protected him at the same time. Furious blow. The skeleton warriors used their skills one after another, and powerful attacks fell on the Goblin King, causing huge damage. In a moment, the Goblin King was torn apart. The Goblin King naturally shifted his target after being attacked, and began to attack the skeleton warrior. Lin Moyu stepped back and thought about what happened just now. The effective damage transfer is to transfer the damage he receives to his own summons. All summons take damage equally. He suddenly understood. The reason why the skeleton warrior was injured at the same time in the blow just now, and the damage was not small. It's mainly because his own attributes are too weak. Only 120 points of constitution, weak defense. Facing the Goblin King with 3000 strength, how much damage should he suffer? The transferred damage is based on himself, ignoring the skeleton warrior's defense. These injuries were all transferred to the skeleton warriors, so the skeleton warriors were injured one after another. If that knife fell on the skeleton warrior, it is estimated that the skeleton warrior's injury would be much, much lighter. It turned out that I was the only weakness. It seems that I will need to build up my physique in the future. The stronger my own defense, the stronger my summoned army. Lin Moyu completely understood. The biggest weakness of the skeleton army with him at its core is himself. If there is a powerful enemy, attacking the foe himself will only expose his weakness. That would also be dangerous. Damage transfer is not a solution either. Now that he knows his weaknesses, Lin Moyu will naturally find ways to make up for them. The Goblin King's body was ripped apart, and blood was pouring down like raindrops. It is 6 or 7 meters tall, and now there are skeleton warriors on its shoulders, back, chest, and even its head. A radiant light erupted from the Goblin King's body. He jumped up violently, and then fell heavily to the ground. With the roar, all the skeleton warriors on his body were blown away. Even the skeleton warriors on the ground were shaken back. Skill, shock back. Then the Goblin King's eyes also glowed, and he opened his mouth wide, spraying out flames. The flames burned the skeleton warrior. Lin Moyu felt that the vitality of the 4 skeleton warriors was rapidly disappearing, and they were on the verge of death. With a heartbeat, the 4 skeleton warriors were immediately taken back to the summoning space. The flames of the Goblin King were still spraying out, preventing the skeleton warriors from approaching. His skills must be interrupted. A flame also appeared on Lin Moyu's palm. Soul Flame. The flames fell silently onto the Goblin King's head. The Goblin King suddenly let out a terrifying scream, and the flame spray was interrupted immediately. The soul flame ignores defense and directly causes spiritual damage. Attack power is determined by skill level and mental strength. Although Lin Moyu's spiritual power is only 400 points, and the skill level is only level 11, after the 20-fold increase, the attack power of the soul flame cannot be underestimated. The skeleton warriors quickly surrounded them and continued to attack desperately. Lin Moyu continued to use the soul flame to attack the Goblin King, preventing him from using his skills normally. A minute later, the Goblin King fell to the ground unwillingly. Kill the King of Goblins, experience, plus 40,000. Obtain a bronze-level weapon, the Dagger of the Goblin King. Obtain bronze-level armor and Robe of Knowledge. Obtain the Crystal Nucleus of the Goblin King. At the same time as the prompt appeared, Lin Moyu's body also emitted an upgrade light. Finally reached level 12. It only took a little more than an hour to sweep the nightmare-level dungeon alone, which allowed him to upgrade by more than one level. Very efficient. Lin Moyu checked his harvest. Goblin King's Dagger, bronze level, strength plus 10, dexterity plus 10, assassin skills increased by 3%, available after level 12. Knowledge Robe, bronze level armor, spirit plus 10, constitution plus 10, shortens the cooldown time of mage skills by 5%, available after level 12. The dagger is useless to Lin Moyu, so he just put it away and can sell it for money later. My profession is a necromancer, so it should also belong to the mage profession. However, my skills are different from other mage skills. There is no cooldown time, so it seems useless. Add 10 points to the spirit and physique attributes, which is not bad. After all, it is only level 12 equipment, so the requirements cannot be too high. Lin Moyu immediately put on the Robe of Knowledge, increasing his spirit and physique by 10 points each. In addition to the equipment, there is also the Crystal Nucleus of the Goblin King. The Goblin King's crystal nucleus is larger than that of low-level monsters, and it is also more beautiful. It's as red as a ruby, and you can feel the warmth coming from it when you hold it in your hand. Obviously, this crystal nucleus is very unusual. The crystal core can be exchanged for 100,000 gold coins when it is taken back to the exchange. Lin Moyu had a little surprise in his heart. The crystal nucleus is more valuable than the other pieces of equipment. Mental power is fully restored after upgrading. Lin Moyu immediately summoned 4 skeleton warriors. The skill of summoning skeleton warriors has been upgraded to level 12, and the summoning requirement has also reached 110 points of spiritual power. Although he now has 510 points of spiritual power, he can still only summon 4 of them. The bronze skeleton warriors who have reached level 12 have all 4-dimensional attributes as high as 3,800 points, and the number has now reached 60. In this dungeon, he can come and go freely. With a good mood, Lin Moyu walked into the instance exit. Lin Moyu suddenly appeared at the entrance of the instance. His appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention. The key to attracting attention is the skeleton warrior that follow him. Skeleton warriors are so special. With a cold and evil look, and a terrifying appearance, the timid people will not consciously turn their heads and dare not look at it. He's out. I didn't expect him to come out alive. Could it be that he really just brushed the dungeon? There are only a handful of hunters who can make a single dungeon. I think this kid is a sucker. No, look at the clothes he is wearing. Does it look like a robe of knowledge? Really, it's really a robe of knowledge. It's unbelievable that this little guy, who can sweep a copy alone, is right in front of my eyes. Lin Moyu didn't care what other people said. The dungeon has entered a cooldown period, and it takes 12 hours to enter again. There was a trip to the dungeon, and he was no longer interested in farming wild monsters. That experience is too little. Killing more than 10 in the wild is not as good as killing 1 in the dungeon. It's too troublesome to find monsters everywhere. The 12-hour cooling time for the mine dungeon is just right for meditation to restore mental strength, and you can also summarize the gains from this dungeon trip. Lin Moyu walked aside silently, found a place where no one was around and sat down. A skeleton warrior stood faithfully beside him, guarding him. This dungeon trip has uncertain use for him. The most important thing is to let him understand where his weaknesses lie and also understand the use of skills. If the corpse burst is used well, it is an unparalleled attacking skill. The soul flame can interrupt the enemy's skills, and the spiritual attack that ignores the defense is very powerful. Even the nightmare boss can hardly bear it. Lin Moyu summed up the experience and sorted out the gains and losses. Lin Moyu sat and meditated, with skeleton warriors standing by his side. There were more than 100 people at the gate of the dungeon, and no one dared to approach Lin Moyu. The main reason was that Lin Moyu's skeleton warrior is too scary. It's frightening to look at. That's fine, no one bothers me. Lin Moyu just waited for the cooling time to pass, and could enter the instance again after 12 hours. Mental strength is gradually restored during meditation. When you enter the instance next time, you can summon 4 skeleton warriors again. As night fell, Lin Moyu finished his meditation, and his mental strength had almost recovered. Pile after pile of bonfires were born at the entrance of the copy, and many people gathered around the bonfire and roasted meat. The aroma of the meat is pervasive, and the aroma is more intense after sprinkling with seasonings. These people often hang out in the field, all of them are very experienced and well prepared. Unlike Lin Moyu, he only brought some sweet potatoes when he went out. Stomach protested. Lin Moyu wanted to take out sweet potatoes to eat. Noticing that the sweet potatoes were gone, he realized that all the sweet potatoes were given to Ningyi. Thinking of Ningyi's naughty and cute appearance, Lin Moyu couldn't help showing a little smile. Instead, he took out the steamed stuffed bun and ate it bite by bite. "Brother, do you want to come over and have some food?" Someone waved to Lin Moyu. They were roasting unknown meat. The meat was very fragrant. Is a young man in his 20s. Judging by his attire, he should be an assistant. Lin Moyu shook his head slightly, declining his kindness. He didn't insist either, and ate the barbecue by himself. Someone said, "Wang, why did you call him?" "That's right, this is a weirdo. He hasn't spoken since he got here. And the undead summon beside him is a bit scary." A young man named Wang has a different opinion. "I think he is normal, but he doesn't like to talk. And look at him, although he didn't speak, he never provoked others. I don't think he's as difficult to get along with as you think." Wang also put a large piece of barbecued meat on a plate, and walked up to Lin Moyu. "Brother, come eat a piece of meat, instead of just eating buns." Lin Moyu looked at him and didn't speak. Wang smiled kindly, put the plate in front of Lin Moyu, and left. Under the detection technique, there is no problem with the meat. Lin Moyu slowly picked up the barbecue and took a bite. The barbecue tasted good and is very fragrant. Not far away, Wang also held a piece of meat out to Lin Moyu, with a sunny smile on his face. At this moment, Lin Moyu felt that his smile was somewhat similar to that of Gao Yang, so joined Wang Yi. After filling his stomach, Lin Moyu entered the state of meditation again. With the skeleton warrior by his side, he doesn't have to worry about safety. The 12-hour dungeon cooldown finally passed, and Lin Moyu's mental power was fully restored. This time I should be able to rise to level 13. He got up and saw that the door of the copy was full of people. 2 gangs appeared to be facing off. A group of people stood at the entrance, completely blocking the entire entrance of the dungeon, preventing anyone from approaching. Wearing uniforms and holding sophisticated weapons, they looked like an army. Those who confronted them were people who were originally outside the copy. Although there were a lot of people, they looked scattered, and they couldn't compare to the other party in terms of momentum. "Your dynasty guild is too domineering. Why don't you let us enter the copy?" "That's right, why, the copy is not yours. It won't affect you if we enter it." Many people protested. A mage with a staff came out of the dynasty guild. "Our young president is completing the task in the dungeon, and you are not allowed to enter the dungeon until his task is completed." "Why?" "Your dynasty guild is too domineering." Professionals protested one after another, but no one dared to do anything. The main reason is that the Dynasty Guild is too strong and they dare not mess with it. Wang Yi was also among the protesting crowd. His sunny smile disappeared and was replaced by anger. Lin Moyu walked over and came to Wang Yi's side. What's wrong? When Wang Yi saw Lin Moyu, he didn't expect Lin Moyu to speak. Surprised, Wang Yi whispered, the young leader of the Dynasty Guild wants to do tasks in the dungeon, so we won't be allowed in. Lin Moyu had doubts in his eyes. What task requires them to block the copy entrance? Wang Yi also saw Lin Moyu's doubts. It's like this, they need the Goblin King's crystal core. The drop rate of this crystal core is not high, only in nightmare-level dungeons, and it will drop after 100 days, falling only once. You should have seen this mission in the exchange, right? This mission was actually issued by the Dynasty Guild. But no one has ever done this task. It's ridiculous to say that the crystal core of the Goblin King is not comparable to ordinary crystal cores. It is worth at least 300,000 gold coins. But they are offering 100,000. Naturally, nobody will sell it to them. It's been exactly 100 days since the last drop today, and this time the Dynasty Guild will sweep the copy until it drops. What a coincidence. The Goblin King's crystal nucleus in his storage space is as dazzling as a ruby. This time the Dynasty Guild will inevitably return without success. Originally, Lin Moyu thought about selling the Goblin King's crystal nucleus for 100,000 gold coins when he went back 2 days later. Listening to Wang Yi now, it is obvious that the Goblin King's crystal nucleus is not a simple item. What's the use? Lin Moyu asked in a low voice. The crystal nucleus of the Goblin King can be processed by an alchemist into a Goblin King ring. The Goblin King's ring increases all attributes by 10, and all skills are upgraded by 1 level. It can be used at level 15. It is known as the strongest jewelry below level 40. Such a strong accessory is indeed very powerful. Especially when all skills are upgraded by 1 level, for novice professionals, they are like gods. Wang Yi continued, it is said that the young president of the Dynasty Guild is going to be admitted to Xiaojing Academy, so he is determined to get this piece of equipment prior to heading there. There is no shortage of alchemists in the Dynasty Guild, and other materials have also been prepared. What is missing now is the crystal nucleus of the Goblin King. Knowing the cause and effect, Lin Moyu smiled and walked towards the entrance of the instance. He doesn't care about any Dynasty Guilds, anyway. It's not good to hinder him from leveling. Hey, what are you doing? Come back quickly, the Dynasty Guild won't let you enter. Come back quickly, you will die. Wang Yi was very nervous and wanted to pull Lin Moyu back. Lin Moyu turned a deaf ear to it and walked over obstinately. The people who were still protesting suddenly stopped, and they all looked at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu walked towards the copy with a skeleton, and the skeleton made a clicking sound as it walked. What are you up to? The Dynasty Guild headed by the mage stared at Lin Moyu with cold eyes. Behind him, a dozen people from the Dynasty Guild looked at Lin Moyu at the same time. These people are all above level 20, and each of them has extraordinary momentum. There are knights, warriors, mages, archers, and assistants. They formed a complete combat team, and they are well equipped, from weapons to armor to jewelry, all bronze-level equipment. It is precisely because of this that although there are many protesters, no one dares to actually do anything. The level is not as good as theirs, the teams are not as good as them, the equipment is not as good as theirs, and the skills are not as good as theirs. The fists are not as good as the Dynasty Guilds, so they can only protest with his mouth. Lin Moyu stopped in front of the mage, and said lightly, "Get out of the way." The mage of the Dynasty Guild seemed to have heard the funniest joke. "Young man, are you drunk? Go home quickly." Lin Moyu continued, "Don't stop me from entering the copy, or I'll kill you." Lin Moyu spoke seriously. He really wasn't joking. Now he wants to enter the dungeon to practice leveling. This is related to his entry into Xiaojing Academy. If anyone dares to stop him, he will really kill them. The mage popped a detection spell and landed on Lin Moyu. Then he sneered, "Lin Moyu, You are just a 12th level kid who dares to talk nonsense here. Didn't your adults teach you to speak well? Necromancer, I haven't seen this class before, is it a new class? The undead summons are quite interesting. For the sake of you and I, being both mages, please forgive me this time and get lost. The opponent's level exceeded Lin Moyu's level by 10, and the shield badge did not work. As soon as his words came out, everyone present knew Lin Moyu's level. He's only level 12. At level 12, he can solo brush a copy. Wrong, he probably didn't even have level 12 before. One realizes that Lin Moyu's career could be very powerful. Lin Moyu also used a detection technique. Reciprocity. The mage didn't wear a shield badge, and Lin Moyu also saw the other party's profession. Zhao Ji, level 25, mage. Unlike elemental mages like Xia Shui, they are just the most common mages, mid-level professionals. Although the level reached level 25, Lin Moyu didn't take it seriously. Zhao Ji sneered, and everyone in the Dynasty Guild behind him also showed sarcasm. Little guy at level 12, do you even have any hair on your balls yet? You should go back home and drink milk. This is not the place for you to come and act rash, be careful, you may lose your life. It's okay for you to fight wild monsters, and the dungeon is not available to you for the time being. Behind Lin Moyu, those who were still protesting before said to Lin Moyu, young man, come back quickly, the Dynasty Guild is unreasonable, they will really kill people. Wang Yi shouted, brother, come back, we will enter the copy after they leave. Lin Moyu didn't pay attention to the voices from all parties, his voice gradually became colder, one last time, get out of the way, or you will die. Zhao Ji felt a chill from Lin Moyu's words, and even shivered unconsciously. Lin Moyu's eyes made him feel cold. What kind of eyes are these? It seems that in Lin Moyu's eyes, he is not a human being, but a monster. But in the next second he reacted, stinky boy, you are looking for death, if you dare to take one step forward, I will kill you. Lin Moyu looked at Zhao Ji, the corners of his mouth moved slightly. Step, kill. Say a word lightly. The skeleton warrior rushed out like lightning, and appeared in front of the mage in the blink of an eye, raising his hand with its knife. Zhao Ji didn't care, and at the same time a light blue energy shield appeared on his body. A little guy at level 12, even if I stand up and let you hit me, you still can't break my energy shield. The skeleton warrior landed on the energy shield with a knife, and the energy shield suddenly deformed violently, almost reaching the edge of shattering. At this moment, Zhao Ji's expression changed immediately. What kind of summon is this? The attack is so big. His own energy shield can resist at least 5 attacks from fighters of the same level. But in front of the skeleton warrior, at most the second hit would break. Skill. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and a dazzling red light burst out from the skeleton warrior's knife. Furious blow. Zhao Ji was frightened out of his wits. Who would have thought that this summoned creature could use skills? He felt the threat of death. With this skill, not only the energy shield would be broken, but he would also die. Ring of Fire. This was Zhao Ji's instant skill, a fire ring erupted, and instantly pushed the skeleton warrior several meters away. The skills of the skeleton warrior were also interrupted. Look at what to do, and do it. Zhao Ji felt that he had walked through the gate of hell, his face turned pale, and he yelled sharply. A knight came out in response and launched a charging skill, held up his shield, and rushed out more than 10 meters in an instant, and hit the skeleton warrior heavily. Boom! Amidst the screams, the knight was sent flying. The skeleton warrior remained motionless. In terms of strength, the skeleton warrior wins. Unless it has a crowd-controlling skill, like resisting the Ring of Fire, it depends on who is stronger. The skeleton warrior rushed up again, and he faithfully carried out Lin Moyu's order to kill Zhao Ji. Zhao Ji stepped back quickly, and while strengthening the protective shield for himself, he shouted, "Kill the summoner." The best way to deal with a summon is not to kill the summon, but to kill the summoner. As long as the summoner dies, the summoned objects will naturally disappear. Boom! 2 archers shoot their arrows at the same time. The sharp arrow turned into 3 in the air, turned into a streamer and shot towards Lin Moyu. "Be careful. Get out of the way," someone shouted from behind. Lin Moyu didn't dodge or evade, and even his expression didn't change. A black vortex appeared in front of Lin Moyu, and 2 skeleton warriors appeared at the same time, one on the left and one on the right, just blocking the incoming sharp arrows. The sharp arrow landed on the skeleton warrior, making a metal hitting sound, but did not cause any damage. Then the 2 skeleton warriors rushed straight towards the 2 archers. There is more than one summon. Zhao Ji's complexion changed again and became extremely ugly. He didn't expect Lin Moyu to have more than one summoned object. However, it is normal for some summoners to have multiple summons. There is a summoner in their guild who has 4 summoned objects. "Block it for me!" Zhao Ji yelled loudly, and immediately a night warrior came over to block him, blocking the skeleton warrior's path. With his life in danger, Zhao Ji raised his staff high and pointed at Lin Moyu, chanting a spell quickly in his mouth. Killing a summon is not as good as killing a summoner. Dancing fire snake. 2 seconds later, a fire snake flew out of his staff and charged towards Lin Moyu. Too bad. This is a skill that can only be learned by a level 20 mage, and it's a very rare skill. It is known as the strongest attack skill before the second turn of the mage. This time brother Lin Moyu will be in trouble. It is said that less than 1/3 of mages can master this skill. Some people behind him are worried about Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu still didn't move, and a vortex appeared in front of him again. This time a total of 20 skeleton warriors came out at the same time. 20 soul fires dance in the dark night. The fiery snake danced wildly on them, and exploded with a bang, emitting brilliant flames. In the flames, 20 skeleton warriors rushed out together, and rushed towards the members of the Dynasty Guild. Zhao Ji's face became extremely ugly. Why are there so many? The appearance of 3 skeleton warriors just now was enough to surprise him, but he did not expect that 20 appeared at once this time. This number has now exceeded their number. Form a team, line up, and fight. Zhao Ji is very experienced and did not panic because of this. The Dynasty Guild is indeed a guild that has been fighting for a long time and has rich experience. The professionals inside have all gone through a lot of battles and have excellent cooperation. They assembled quickly. Knights are at the front, warriors, archers, and mages are output in the center, and support is at the rear. In Zhao Ji's eyes, although these summons are strong, his own team is more complete. Killing the skeleton warriors just takes some time. A team of more than a dozen people huddled together. The assistants quickly add buffs to everyone. Strength enhancement, agility enhancement, spirit enhancement. Speed stimulation, energy shield, soul of berserker. As long as there is a state that can be added, none of them are missed. In just 30 seconds before and after, all states were buffed. It also shows their excellent cooperation. Confidence appeared on Zhao Ji's face again. Although they are now surrounded by skeleton warriors, it is not uncommon for them to encounter such a situation. He firmly believes that he must have the last laugh. At this moment Lin Moyu raised his hand, lowered his head and said to Wang Yi and the others behind him, "You guys, back away from here." Until now, no one dared not listen to his words. Who would have thought that he could fight against more than a dozen dynasty guilds by himself? Everyone retreated immediately, and the distance was tens of meters in a blink of an eye. Seeing this situation, Zhao Ji was puzzled, but he didn't think much about it. At this moment, he suddenly saw flames flashing in front of him, followed by a scream from an archer. The archer's vitality dropped sharply, and he was on the verge of death in an instant. Immediately afterwards, a healing technique landed on Archer, quickly pulling him back from the death line. Lin Moyu used Soul Flame and failed to kill the archer in seconds. The other party's nanny responded quickly and treated the archer directly. Zhao Ji broke out in a cold sweat, thinking of Lin Moyu's profession. Lin Moyu is not just a summoner, but a necromancer. In addition to being a summoner, he is also a mage. Nurses, pay attention. The treatment must be fast. The opponent has the ability to attack using magic. Zhao Ji commanded loudly, making everyone in the team more nervous. Who would have thought that a dozen of them would be besieged and attacked by one person? Concentrate on one person. Lin Moyu looked at the outermost knight with the skeleton warrior on his head. This knight is also suffering unspeakably at this time. He has to bear the attack of more than 10 skeleton warriors at the same time. The pressure he bears is greater than that of the nightmare dungeon boss. Although there were constant healing spells falling on him, he still felt extreme pain and felt that he would die at any time. Following Lin Moyu's order, more knives fell on him. Then a flame appeared overhead. Out of the instinct of life, the knight started the ultimate defense immediately. There was a shimmer of light on his body, and the pressure suddenly decreased a lot. However, the soul flame ignored his defense and directly attacked the soul. Even with the ultimate defense, he still screamed. Fortunately for him, the nurse reacted quickly, throwing healing spells on him. Under the continuous attack of the skeleton warriors, the radiance of the ultimate defense is rapidly fading. The ultimate defense, which could last at least 40 seconds, only lasted 20 seconds. At the moment when the ultimate defense disappeared, Lin Moyu issued a new order. Use skills. At the same time he used the soul flame again. The soul flame took effect, causing the knight to scream. More than a dozen violent blows landed on the knight at the same time. Even the nanny didn't have time to heal him, and the knight was instantly killed. The gap in the team was opened, and Zhao Ji's face changed drastically. Run. Lin Moyu shook his head. It's too late. A skeleton warrior threw the knight's body into the air. The corpse exploded. There was a loud bang. The knight's body was detonated. Detonated in the air, the most powerful explosion style. With the knight as the center, within a range of 20 meters, deal damage equal to 200% of the knight's HP to all enemies. Among all professions, the vitality of the knights is one of the best. How powerful would it be if the damage based on his life was doubled? Zhao Ji only heard a bang, and nothing more. Kill them all. The corpse exploded like a thunderbolt, destroying everything. Only a dozen bombed-out corpses remained on the ground. None of the Dynasty Guild members survived. Large pieces of objects were scattered on the ground. Lin Moyu didn't even look at it, and took them all away. Boom. 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 A corpse was thrown into the air. The explosions continued. Lin Moyu detonated all the corpses. This was a real destruction of corpses, and all traces of evidence they were even there, aside from the newly formed craters. After doing all this, Lin Moyu entered the copy. The scattered people who had protested before finally dared to come over. When the corpse exploded, the terrifying energy was like a knife scraping their bodies. Hey, they're all gone. There really wasn't a single one left. Not only did not a single life remain of the group, there wasn't even a corpse left behind. Really destroying corpses and eradicating traces, the people really didn't talk too much. This time, we have provoked the Dynasty Guild. The Dynasty Guild will seek vengeance. What should we do? Wang Yi suddenly stood up and said, with the character of the Dynasty Guild, they will definitely not let it go. If caught by them, no matter whether we tell them or not, in the end they will kill us. I have a proposal. It's better for everyone to retreat now. Leave Shihai City, leave Jiangning Province, and stay away from the sphere of influence of the Dynasty Guild. Anyway, there is more than one place where we can level up, and the Dynasty Guild may not be able to find us. His proposal was immediately accepted by everyone. As he said, the Dynasty Guild is not a good bird. As long as they are caught, it doesn't matter whether you say it or not, the end will be the same. Wang Yi clasped his fists together. I'll take a step first, and see you all by chance. See you soon. With his incitement, everyone retreated one after another, and the door of the dungeon became empty in a blink of an eye. The fire was extinguished, and there was only a black vortex slowly rotating at the entrance of the Shihai mine instance, making a faint whirring sound. Moonlight reigns over the abandoned area again. Half an hour later, several people were teleported out of the dungeon. Wang Zihao had a little disappointment on his face. This trip to the dungeon still failed to obtain the crystal nucleus of the Goblin King. It will take 12 hours to enter the copy again. But he still has a chance. There are still a few days before the big exam, and he can enter at least 4 dungeons. Hey, why is there no one here? Where did Zhao Ji go? Where are all the people gone? Something doesn't seem right. Zhao Ji disappeared, and all the scattered people disappeared. What happened? The few people who accompanied Wang Zihao to the dungeon showed panic. They are all only level 17, and their experience is far inferior to Zhao Ji and the others. At this time, they can only rely on Wang Zihao as the backbone. After all, he is the young president of the Dynasty Guild. But Wang Zihao was also confused. His whole face was covered with question marks. After thinking about it for a long time, he said, "Light the signal flare. If Zhao Ji is nearby, there will be a response when he sees it." A signal bomb was lifted into the air and exploded in the air, forming a huge ball of light. It can be seen clearly in a radius of 10 miles. There was no response until the signal flare was completely extinguished, indicating that Zhao Ji and others are not here. Wang Zihao realized that Zhao Ji and others must have encountered something since the time he entered the dungeon. Otherwise it is impossible to leave. Will Zhao Ji be killed? With the strength of Zhao Ji and others, there might be a crushing existence in this area. He wouldn't think about it either. Even if you were to be killed, you would definitely leave traces. But there was nothing in front of his eyes. Not only Zhao Ji is not here, but everyone else is gone too. Something must have happened here. Maybe there will be danger. Let's leave first, go back and see if we can contact Zhao Ji. The atmosphere here was too weird. Wang Zihao decided to leave first. Lin Moyu is alone in the copy, and 64 skeleton warriors are rampaging all the way. The style of play is exactly the same as before, and the experience has increased rapidly. This time the efficiency was higher than last time. Lin Moyu had come to the end of the instance after only 1 hour. 64 skeleton warriors surrounded the boss together, bombarding the Goblin King indiscriminately. There was a sound like iron strikes. Lin Moyu has previous experience. Whenever the Goblin King wants to activate a skill, he interrupts it with a soul flame. The soul flame is almost instant, a bit faster than the Goblin King's skill. In less than 30 seconds, the big boss of the dignified nightmare-level dungeon fell to the ground and died in extreme frustration. Kill the King of Goblins, experience, plus 40,000. Obtain a bronze-level weapon, the magic book of the Goblin King. Obtain a low-level monster, crystal nucleus. Sure enough, this time, instead of dropping the Goblin King's crystal nucleus, it became a low-level monster, crystal nucleus. The Goblin King's crystal nucleus will drop once every 100 days, which highlights its preciousness. Lin Moyu thought that when he arrived at Showdown Academy, he might be able to find an alchemist to make the ring of the Goblin King from the crystal nucleus of the Goblin King. This kind of boss jewelry, no matter what profession or level, is very easy to use. Lin Moyu checked the attributes of the Goblin King's magic book. Goblin King's magic book, bronze level, spirit plus 10, constitution plus 10, mage type skills increase by 3%, available after level 12. Looking at the attributes, although it is not very worthwhile, it can still be used. Looking at the book, it seems to be a bit interesting. Mage skills increase the power by 3%, which is useful for soul flames and corpse explosions, but not for his summons. Skeleton warriors don't seem to be mage skills. The upgraded light on his body has not completely disappeared. Lin Moyu reached level 13 while killing the Goblin King. Experience requirements have begun to increase. The next copy should be less than level 14. If you want to reach level 15, you need to play 3 more times. Based on time, I can download at most 5 copies, and at most I can reach level 16. It's a little worse than expected. It should be enough for the 16th grade entrance examination at Showdown Academy. Lin Moyu quit the copy. It was very quiet outside the dungeon. It was unusually quiet. they're all gone? Lin Moyu thought for a while, and basically understood the cause and effect. Leaving may be the best choice for these scattered people. Looking around, he didn't stop. He quickly sank into the darkness and disappeared. The warm sun lifted into the sky, and the earth ushered in the second day. Finally, another team came to the copy door. Hey, why is there no one here today? It's known to be very lively. Strange, where did everyone go? The team was puzzled, but didn't think much of it. They chose normal difficulty and entered the dungeon. Then people came over one after another, and the entrance of the dungeon became lively again. After the dungeon cooldown period ended, Lin Moyu came back again and entered the dungeon. What a weirdo. So cold, he doesn't speak. The summoned creature around him is so cool. Although it's a bit scary, it's really cool. What's the use of being cool, people just ignore us. I saw that he went in alone, as if he wanted to do solo. It's Lin Moyu. Xiaoshui saw Lin Moyu entering the dungeon alone from a distance. The skeleton warrior beside Lin Moyu is too conspicuous. She knew that only Lin Moyu had such a summon in the whole world. Necromancer is a unique profession, there will be no second one. Xiaoshui's eyes were complicated, he wants to solo the copy. Biting his lips. She just reached level 10 today, so she came directly to this dungeon. Although she is only level 10, she can easily find a team with her rare profession, Elemental Mage. The copy of the West Sea Mine is only a level 14 copy, and the difficulty is actually not high. This is especially true on normal difficulty. However, it is still not easy to brush alone. Unexpectedly, Lin Moyu was able to sweep it solo, and walked in front of her again. Dissatisfaction flashed in Xiaoshui's eyes. I won't lose to you, just wait and see. Soon she also found a team and entered the dungeon. Lin Moyu pushes all the way in the nightmare level dungeon. After the upgrade yesterday, the number of skeleton warriors has reached 68. Later, after 12 hours of meditation, my mental strength was completely restored. After entering the instance, Lin Moyu summoned 4 more skeletons. Now there are 72 skeleton warriors forming a huge army. Efficiency is higher than before. Wherever the skeleton warriors went, not a single blade of grass grew. In addition, Lin Moyu is already very familiar with the dungeon, so the advancement speed is faster. Just 45 minutes later, Lin Moyu met an old friend. Don't sleep, wake up. The Goblin King comes to life on the sword of the skeleton warrior. By the time it stood up, most of its vitality had been lost. Fire came out of its mouth, and then the soul flame descended, interrupting its skills. In less than 30 seconds, the Goblin King fell again. Kill the King of Goblins, experience, plus 40,000. Obtain a bronze-level weapon, the longbow of the Goblin King. Obtain a low-level monster, Crystal Nucleus. Longbow of the Goblin King, bronze level, strength plus 10, agility plus 10, bow skill power increased by 3%, available after level 12. The dropped items are still the same. Lin Moyu just took a look and put them into the storage space. The Goblin King's eyes were full of unwillingness and depression. That look, as if he knew Lin Moyu. Don't be depressed, I won't come after a few more times. Anyway, you are a boss monster, it doesn't matter who kills you, right? I will kill you faster and you can suffer less. Actually, I don't want to kill you, but I can't help it. I have to upgrade. Lin Moyu whispered to the Goblin King, regardless of whether the Goblin King could understand or not. It was not much different from what Lin Moyu expected. This time he didn't receive enough experience to level up. 20% away from level 14. I can level up during the next sweep. Lin Moyu quickly left without staying in the instance. That afternoon, a group of people from the Dynasty Guild came to the copy. The young president, Wang Zhihao, was not there, and neither were the people who teamed up with him to sweep the dungeon yesterday. The Dynasty Guild is not here to sweep the dungeon this time. They are here to investigate what happened yesterday. There was no news from Zhao Jinyao, including the dozen or so people that were with him. The scattered people who were present at that time also disappeared one by one, as if the world had evaporated. This time, the members of the Dynasty Guild were very restrained and did not do anything excessive. It's polite even if you ask. After some questioning, the answer they got was that I didn't know. Because everyone present here just arrived today, they don't know anything about what happened yesterday. They investigated for a long time but failed to get any results. In the end, they could only retreat. Somehow, the news that the Dynasty Guild blocked the dungeon spread, causing strong protests from many people. The Professional Association issued a warning to the Dynasty Guild today. If they do it again, the consequences awaiting them will be severe. Instances are the resources of all human beings, not something that their guild can block at will. Not to mention a day or two, even an hour, a serious offense. At the headquarters of the Dynasty Guild, the president Wang Wei pointed at his son Wang Zhihao and scolded him severely. Has your brain been eaten by a mad dog? How did you come up with the idea of blocking the dungeon? Do you think you can cover the sky with one hand because you are in our Dynasty Guild president's son? You think you are above the Xinxia Empire or the Professionals Association? If you want to die, die by yourself. Don't drag the Dynasty Guild into the water with you. Don't go anywhere, just stay in the guild headquarters. Anyway, your level is high enough, so you can wait for the big exam with peace of mind. Wang Wei scolded Wang Zhihao. Wang Zhihao lowered his head and said nothing. He held back for a long time before asking, then what about Zhao Ji and the others? I have already sent people to investigate, so don't worry about this matter. It's beyond your level to make so many people disappear at once. Wang Wei waved his hand and let him go. Anyway, Wang Zhihao was already level 16, so it was high enough to head to Shaojing Academy. Even if he was locked up for a few days and couldn't be upgraded, it wouldn't have a big impact. That night, Lin Moyu entered the dungeon for the 4th time. By now, the number of skeleton warriors has increased to 76. After clearing the level for the first 3 times, he already knows this copy like the back of his hand. After entering the dungeon, a brand new idea popped up in my heart. I can try it. If feasible, it can be used in other dungeons in the future. Just thinking of it, all the skeleton warriors rushed into the mine like a tide, acting out his idea. A large number of monsters in the mine were attracted by the skeleton warriors, but the skeleton warriors did not fight them, but kept running to the depths of the dungeon. So a strange scene was formed in the dungeon. A large number of skeleton warriors ran in front, followed by a large wave of goblin monsters. Behind the goblin monster, there is also Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu was also running, following behind the team with a smile on his face. After the skeleton warrior reaches the bronze level, the limit distance between the skeleton warrior and him has been increased to 1,000 meters. He just needs to stay within 1,000 meters. With nearly 100 monsters in the mine tunnel, they ran all the way to the Mine Wolf King in a group. The arrival of the skeleton warriors also awakened the Mine Wolf King. The Mine Wolf King started to attack the skeleton warriors, but the skeleton warriors ignored it. Wait until all the monsters behind have gathered. Under the command of Lin Moyu, the scope of the skeleton warriors' activities has become smaller and smaller. The range of monsters is also getting smaller, and these monsters are gathered together. At this time, the figure of Lin Moyu had appeared at the entrance of the mine. The skeleton warrior suddenly launched an attack, instantly killing one of the goblin mine guards. Then the body was thrown high. The corpse exploded. Lin Moyu, who had been waiting for a long time, activated his skill and detonated the corpse. There was a loud bang. The entire mine was shaking, and countless gravels fell from the rock wall. Goblin mine guards fell in pieces. In Lin Moran's place, various reminders began to flash again. There are too many reminders to read, and Lin Moyu has no time to read them. A large number of new corpses have been produced, and he has continuously used corpse explosion, 10 times in a row. 10 times of huge roars, the ground of the dungeon was forcibly cut off a layer. The Mine Wolf King didn't escape back to the passage this time, and died directly in the body explosion. At this time, the iron gate in the passage was opened, and a large number of mine wolves ran out. Only then did Lin Moyu understand that these gates would open automatically without the need for the Mine Wolf King to run back and call. Go on, pull them all into the mine. Lin Moyu gave an order, and the skeleton warrior ran towards the mine again. What's in the mine? Except for some goblin monsters, then there is only the Goblin King. The skeleton warrior dragged hundreds of mine wolves and ran in without hesitation. Lin Moyu followed behind. At this moment, he was emitting an upgraded radiance. The wave of group monster bombing just now made him reach level 14. And now, it was only 5 minutes since he entered the instance. This speed is so fast that it is unimaginable. The skeleton warriors ran down the passage of the mine pit, attracting all the monsters in the area. When they reached the bottom of the mine, there were already more than 200 monsters following the skeletons. Goblin monsters, mine wolves, huddled together. The Goblin King gradually woke up, his eyes full of doubts. What the hell is this? I am here again. Lin Moyu has also gone down. The skeleton warrior stopped running and began to fight back. Furious blow. Red lights up on the broadsword, swinging skills. With a scream, a fierce mine wolf instantly took shape and died. The corpse flew up and exploded in the air. The corpse exploded. Boom. Boom. The roar continued, almost blowing the mine down. The experience value rose rapidly, accompanied with a dizzying array of notifications. Lots of material items went into his storage space. The king of goblins who just woke up and hasn't even stood up yet. In a dozen consecutive corpse burst attacks, he fell to the ground with a crash. This time it was worse than the previous few times, but it also died more simply. Even if there was pain, it only takes a few seconds. Looking at the unwilling Goblin King, Lin Moyu sighed softly. I will come 3 more times. The implication is that you have to die 3 more times. Anyway, you're used to dying. People come to kill you every day. Kill the King of Goblins, experience, plus 40,000. Obtain a bronze-level weapon, the Staff of the Goblin King. Obtain a low-level monster, Crystal Nucleus. Goblin King Staff, bronze level, Spirit plus 10, Constitution plus 10, Mage-type skills increased by 3%, available after level 12. I looked at my own experience, 60% at level 14. Next time I come in, I can reach level 15. After reaching level 15, the experience requirement will increase again, lifting it at least 2 to 3 times. Calculating the time, I can come in 3 more times at most, and I should be able to reach level 16 without any accidents. However, it depends on the experience requirements after level 15. At this time, the usual bustle has resumed outside the dungeon. The number of people is a little less than before, and the group of people has also changed. Lin Moyu didn't see a familiar face at a glance. He heard from other people's conversations that the Dynasty Guild had come. Obviously, the Dynasty Guild didn't get any useful information. Lin Moyu did not stay away this time, but just found a secluded place to meditate, for more skeleton fighters have been added, and the number has reached 76. The 4-dimensional attribute of each skeleton warrior is as high as 4600, which is higher than that of the nightmare-level dungeon boss Goblin King. The only downside is that the skills are not strong enough. It's not like the Goblin King has a super lethal skill like Flame Spray. Lin Moyu, who was meditating, suddenly received a message from the skeleton warrior. Someone is approaching. What level are you? Hearing a familiar voice, he opened his eyes and saw Xia Shui. There was a touch of dust on Xia Shui's delicate face, and there was a surge of elemental breath on her body. Obviously just experienced the battle, she just came out of the copy. She stared at Lin Moyu with dissatisfaction on her face. Lin Moyu said calmly, level 14. What? Xia Shui screamed, how could you be so fast? She teamed up with others and brushed the normal difficulty of the Shihai Mine dungeon twice in a row, rising from level 10 to level 11. 2 copies in a row had exhausted her. Even if Lin Moyu can brew sh the instance alone, it is impossible for him to upgrade so xiaoqui. No matter what, Xia Shui could never have imagined that Lin Moyu was playing on nightmare difficulty. Lin Moyu did not continue to answer Xia Shui, believe it or not. Based on Xia Shui's understanding of Lin Moyu, she knew that Lin Moyu would not talk nonsense. Since he said level 14, he must be level 14. The dissatisfaction in Xia Shui's eyes became more and more intense. The higher the level, the slower the upgrade. On the first day of the novice dungeon, I am level 5 and Lin Moyu is level 7. 2 levels off. Logically speaking, the distance should be shortened now. Why is it that I am only level 11, but Lin Moyu is level 14, which increases the distance? Xia Shui snorted, I won't admit defeat. With that she turned and left. Lin Moyu looked at her, not knowing what to say. In the past few years, I have always held Xia Shui down. Before changing jobs, he had always been the first in all subjects, and Xia Shui was the second child. After the job change, his level rose all the way, leaving Xia Shui behind once again. Lin Moyu also understood that Xia Shui was still unconvinced and wanted to fight with himself. This is always the case whether it is before or after a job change. But I never gave her a chance. Suddenly, he saw Xia Shui and a few people entering the dungeon. Strange, didn't she just come out? How did you get in again so quickly? Why doesn't the dungeon have a cooling time for her? Lin Moyu saw something incredible. He has tried whether it is normal difficulty or nightmare difficulty, the dungeon has a cooldown time. And both are affected by this cooldown. After clearing the nightmare difficulty, he also couldn't enter the normal difficulty within 12 hours. But how could Xia Shui get in again so quickly? Lin Moyu is sure that Xia Shui just came out of the dungeon not long ago. The fighting breath on her body still exists and hasn't even completely subsided. And there is the breath of the Goblin King. This can't be fooled. While Lin Moyu was meditating, he let the skeleton warriors observe. 2 hours later, Xia Shui's figure reappeared at the entrance of the dungeon. She completed a dungeon. After coming out of the dungeon, Xia Shui didn't forget to turn her head to look at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu saw exhaustion from her expression. It is the overdraft caused by the continuous battle. In just 10 minutes, Xia Shui found another team and entered the instance again. Lin Moyu found that she seemed to use a prop before she entered the instance. At that time, there was a glimmer of light on her body. Lin Moyu guessed that it was this prop that made Xia Shui ignore the cooling time of the copy. If I get a chance, I need to ask. Lin Moyu thought in his heart and re-entered the state of meditation. His mental strength gradually recovered. As the level gets higher and higher, the attribute of mental power is also highlighted. Now his basic mental power has reached 700, far exceeding other attributes. This is also the characteristic of the mage profession, with extremely high mental power, in exchange for other attributes are extremely poor. There is no balance. Every profession has its own characteristics, which Lin Moyu chooses to accept. A few hours later, the sound of slightly heavy footsteps sounded in his ears. Xia Shui walked to Lin Moyu and sat down beside Lin Moyu with exhaustion all over her body. Even if there is no cooling time limit, it is impossible for her to brush copies continuously. Her body is overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. Xia Shui collapsed on the ground without any image. She is not afraid of the skeleton warriors beside Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu is also her classmate, so there is nothing to be afraid of. After resting for a while, Xia Shui recovered a little bit of energy. I am already level 12, and I will catch up with you soon. At level 12, if you team up for a normal dungeon, you need at least 3 to 4 times to upgrade to a level. It is difficult to catch up with him. Lin Moyu looked at the exhausted Xia Shui. Aren't you tired? Xia Shui snorted. Tired? Why not tired? I doesn't want to move a single finger now. Why? Xia Shui looked angry. Why? You still have the face to ask me why. After being suppressed by you for so many years, this lady must surpass you. Just because of this? Lin Moyu didn't expect Xia Shue's resentment to be so heavy. She knew that she would get the first place in a certain exam. Xia Shui looked at the sky. Of course it's more than that. I want to be admitted to Shaojing Academy. You are also aiming to be admitted into Shaojing Academy, so you should understand. If you want to go to Shaojing Academy, you need at least level 14, the safe point is level 15, and the safest level is level 16. With a little more than 2 days left, Lin Moyu felt that Xia Shui would only reach level 14 at most, and it would be very difficult to reach level 15. Unless. Lin Moyu whispered, you should go to the nightmare level dungeon, so that the upgrade can be faster. Are you kidding? An elite team is not so easy to find. Those elite teams want professionals at level 16 and 17. I'm only level 12. No one wants me in their party. Xia Shui glanced at Lin Moyu, as if to say, do you understand or not? Looking at the elite team waving flags and shouting for important people at the entrance of the dungeon, in addition to requirements for level occupations, they also have requirements for equipment. Unless you are a wet nurse, the requirements can be lowered appropriately. An output class like Xia Shui has the highest requirements. Seeing that Lin Moyu didn't speak, Xia Shui said to herself, that's why, I'd better do a few more normal level dungeons. Level 14 should be fine, and maybe level 15 is possible with a bit of effort. Listening to her words, Lin Moyu finally asked, why can you ignore the cooling time? Xia Shui showed a surprised baby's expression, you don't even know. Then she suddenly smiled, coquettishly, you really don't know, so there are things you don't know. Lin Moyu didn't speak, just looked at Xia Shui quietly. Is it that surprising? I am not an encyclopedia, so there are many things I don't know. Xia Shui acted like she found something interesting, with a smirk on her face, if you say something nice, I'll tell you. Lin Moyu turned his head and closed his eyes. Don't say it if you don't want to say it, making him say good things. Impossible. Seeing Lin Moyu like this, Xia Shui suddenly lost interest. What an idiot, he can't even take a joke. It is said that the minds of mages are the most flexible and jumpy. How can they be as rigid as you? I really suspect that you are a fake mage. Let me tell you then. It's because I used a cooling amulet. Lin Moyu thought about the cooling talisman information in his memory, but found that he had no such knowledge. I don't even know what a talisman is. Didn't learn it in school. Xia Shui said, the cooling talisman can offset the cooldown time of the dungeon, allowing you to enter the dungeon repeatedly. Speaking of which, Xia Shui took out a palm-sized object and handed it to Lin Moyu, this is it. The talisman looks like a gemstone, with a charming light shining on the surface, and the talisman is engraved with all kinds of incomprehensible mysterious runes. His fingertips shimmered. Under the detection technique, Lin Moyu got the information. Primary cooling talisman. Number of times used, 7 out of 10. Description, it can offset the cooling time of the dungeon, and it is only valid for dungeons below level 20. There is such a thing. Lin Moyu felt that he was really ignorant. Xia Shui said, I use this talisman to continuously enter dungeons, now you understand. If he had this thing, he could repeat dungeons repeatedly, and his level could rise quickly. Lin Moyu whispered, is this thing expensive? Xia Shui said, I don't know either, my father gave it to me and asked me to use it. But it should be quite expensive. At that time, seeing my father's appearance, he seemed to feel a little distressed. Xia Shui's family background is very good, and the family conditions are very proud and rich. Shi Haixia's family is well ranked in the entire Jiangning province. Things that even she would consider expensive are obviously worth a lot. After analyzing it, Lin Moyu lost the idea of getting a talisman. Xia Shui said, there are still 2 days left, and I will use up all 7 opportunities to reset the instance. Combining with my own cooldown time, I have to do at least 9 copies, so I can guarantee that I can reach level 15. My God, I will be totally exhausted. Xia Shui had a frowning look on her face, but she seemed to have recovered a bit of what she should be at this age. She is no longer such a condescending young lady. Lin Moyu thought for a while. I can take you to brush the dungeon, and guarantee that you can upgrade to level 15, and you don't have to work in there. As soon as Xiaoshua's eyes lit up, she was speaking to a person who could solo the dungeon. If I brush the copy with Lin Moyu, I won't have to fight myself, and teaming up with 2 people has more experience than 3 people. Less exhausting, and also gain more experience, which are both great things. The only problem is that her level will not be able to catch up with Lin Moyu. But even if she doesn't go with him, can she even catch up to him? Xiaoshue was not sure. After thinking about it, Xiaoshue made a decision. If I can't catch up to him for the time being, I won't focus on it. First, I will need to guarantee my entrance to Shaojing Academy. Anyway, our career path has just started, and the future is still far away. Sooner or later, I will catch up to him. Okay, I promise you. You take me to brush the copy, and I will share the amulet with you. Lin Moyu knew that Xiaoshue would definitely agree. As long as she was not too stupid, she would not refuse. In this way, I can also brush several copies. Although the gained experience will be halved, the extra number of runs available exceed the difference. This is a win-win result. Xiaoshue said, then don't waste time, let's enter the dungeon together. Lin Moyu didn't move. In 2 more hours, my cooling time will be over. There are only 2 hours left, so it's not worth using up an extra run by going now. Xiaoshue is not stupid, this can be equated quickly. Okay, just wait for 2 hours, I will go to bed first, and call me when you are ready. As she said that, she lay back and went to sleep. It is very dangerous to sleep so undefended in the wild. But Xiaoshue slept peacefully because Lin Moyu was next to her. No matter the condition of her rivalry with Lin Moyu, she understood his true nature very well, so she rested easily. Xiaoshue curled up, sleeping soundly, with a smile on her lips. After Lin Moyu gave the skeleton an order to guard her, he continued to meditate and regained his mental strength. 2 hours later, the cooldown of Lin Moyu's instance ended. Wake up. Lin Moyu wakes Xiaoshue up. Xiaoshue's eyes were sleepy. So fast. Xiaoshue got up and stretched her waist, revealing her slender belly button. At this moment, she was showing off her beautiful figure wantonly. Xiaoshue is tall, 1.7 meters tall, and her body is even more uneven. It looks only a little shorter than Lin Moyu, who is 1.8 meters tall. The two stood side by side, like a match made in heaven. Only the skeleton warrior next to them was a bit of an unpleasant sight. After sleeping for 2 hours, Xiaoshue's mental state has recovered a lot, and most of her fatigue had subsided. The two teamed up, with Lin Moyu as the captain, and came to the entrance of the instance together. Xiaoshue used the primary cooling talisman to make the cooldown of her dungeon disappear. A gleam of light flowed on her body. Xiaoshue nodded towards Lin Moyu. Okay, let's go in. Lin Moyu opened the copy, and then chose the difficulty of nightmare level. Xiaoshue's face changed drastically. Did you choose the wrong one? The voice fell, and the two had disappeared at the door of the copy. The heavy and oppressive atmosphere made Xiaoshue breathless. Looking at the terrifying monster walking back and forth behind the big iron gate, her slender legs turned a little weak. Under the detection technique, the attributes of the enhanced elite monsters can be seen at a glance. Whether it is attributes or appearance, it is completely different from the monsters in the normal level dungeon. Xiaoshue looked at Lin Moyu in horror. This is a nightmare difficulty. Did you choose the wrong one? Lin Moyu didn't notice it. No, I made the right choice. You made the right choice. Is it possible that this guy still wants to rely on the two of them to create a nightmare level dungeon? Just looking at the monster's terrifying attributes made Xiaoshue's teeth tremble a little. Are you crazy? We will die. Xiaoshue shouted. Lin Moyu didn't respond to her words, nor did he care about Xiaoshue's mood at this moment. Wait here, I'll let you know when to follow me. What? What are you running? Xiaoshue couldn't react for a while. That terrifying enhanced elite monster has already set its sights on her. Xiaoshue felt the fear of death. If it wasn't for the fear of being laughed at by Lin Moyu, she would want to escape from the instance right now. A large number of skeleton warriors appeared in the room. While releasing the skeleton warriors, Lin Moyu also summoned new skeleton warriors. In the blink of an eye, 80 skeleton warriors had filled most of the room. Then under Xia Shue's horrified gaze, Lin Moyu opened the door to the dungeon. The skeleton warriors marched like a legion, rushing frantically towards the mine. Lin Moyu is already familiar with this kind of thing. The enhanced elite monster behind the iron gate chased the skeleton warrior, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Follow me. Lin Moyu started running. Xia Shui was dumbfounded. What the F? Can he sweep the copy like this? Hurry up, don't be afraid. Lin Moyu's voice came from the passage. Xia Shui stomped her feet. I will not be afraid, and will not lose to you. Unconvinced, she quickly caught up with Lin Moyu. A huge monster is advancing in the copy. Skeleton warriors run at the front, followed by a large number of enhanced elite monsters. At the end are Lin Moyu and Xia Shui. Xia Shui asked while running, what are you going to do? Lin Moyu responded lightly, brush the book. The answer was taken for granted. Xia Shui was speechless. Running through the long mine road, she saw the side boss, the Mine Wolf King. The nightmare level Mine Wolf King is more than a full circle larger than the normal level Mine Wolf King. Xia Shui didn't even need to use detection to know, this guy was super scary. At this time, the skeleton warrior ran to it. The Mine Wolf King kept attacking the skeleton warriors, but the skeleton warriors just continued to run and did not fight back. Why didn't it fight back? Xia Shui was amazed by the skeleton warrior's resistance, but also felt strange. Lin Moyu commanded the skeleton warrior, hurry up. After all the monsters behind had caught up, several skeleton warriors suddenly activated their skills at the same time. Instantly killed a strengthened elite monster. Then the body of the enhanced elite monster was thrown into the air. At the same time Lin Moyu also raised his hand. The corpse exploded. Boom. There was a loud bang, and Xia Shui was startled by the terrifying movement. Experience skyrocketed, and notifications of all kinds swarmed in. Almost in the blink of an eye, Xia Shui's experience increased by 30%. Xia Shui was dumbfounded. How could she still do dungeons like this? What is this operation? Boom. Boom. There were several loud bangs in succession. The Mine Wolf King, who was extremely terrifying in her eyes, fell to the ground with a scream. Died. Is it so easy to kill? She still remembered that the three of them met the Mine Wolf King in normal difficulty, and assigned tasks one by one. All kinds of tactics were needed, all kinds of styles of play were used, they only dared to fight it after the arrangements and plans were in place. After more than 20 minutes of fighting it with the other team, it was still very hard to kill it. Now in front of Lin Moyu, it is simply an instant kill. Xia Shui's whole body was numb. She realized that this was not the ordinary level difficulty, but a dungeon of nightmare level difficulty. For the same boss, the nightmare level is several times more difficult than the normal level. But in front of Lin Moyu, he was instantly killed. The numbness rose from the soles of the feet to the top of the head, and Xia Shui was shaking like a leaf. This is a copy? This is simply like visiting your own back garden, right? Lin Moyu didn't notice her appearance, and waved his hand, let's go. The skeleton warrior had already run into the passage, heading down the mine pit. Xia Shui woke up with a start and hurriedly followed. Are you soloing all the nightmare level dungeons? Difficult to ask this question. Xia Shui would never have believed it if she hadn't seen it with her own eyes. Not to mention who it is. Who would believe that someone can single-handedly sweep a nightmare-level dungeon at a dozen or so levels higher than him? Throughout history, no one has done it. Lin Moyu looked calm, yes. Xia Shui continued to ask, from level 10? That's right, I got a positive answer from Lin Moyu. Xia Shui finally understands why Lin Moyu can upgrade so quickly. When she just left the novice dungeon, it is estimated that Lin Moyu has already entered the mine dungeon to brush alone. And it was in fact the nightmare level of difficulty. If IHE is not limited by the cooling time of the copy, it is estimated that Lin Moyu can reach level 20 by now. This efficiency is too fast. From entering the dungeon to now, it took only about 10 minutes before and after, and the final boss was already about to be seen. And before she teamed up with others to play on normal difficulty, it took at least an hour to get here. The giant Goblin King has a strong sense of oppression. Then the skeleton warriors led a large group of monsters, and the ferocious wolves rushed up like wasps. With a dozen deafening booms, everything returned to silence. An upgraded light once again appeared on Lin Moyu. This is the second time I experienced such a scene, and even the final boss was instantly killed. Xia Shui was completely numb. She wondered if the King of Goblins was Lin Moyu's own son who gave him experience for nothing. Seeing the upgrade light on Lin Moyu, she exclaimed, "You upgraded again? Level 15? Lin Moyu hummed, "It is indeed level 15. Xia Shui grimaced, she was 30% experience short of level 13. This time the gap with Lin Moyu widened again. I'm really unconvinced. Kill the Goblin King, experience, plus 25,000. Obtain a bronze-level weapon, the long sword of the Goblin King. Obtain a low-level monster, crystal nucleus. Seeing the prompt message, Xia Shui sighed, it's a pity it's not a staff. You want a staff? Lin Moyu asked. Xia Shui hummed, yes, the Goblin King's staff is the best weapon for mages, before level 20. Although I can also go to the exchange to buy, I have to ask my father for money. I don't want to ask him for money. Suddenly a black shadow flew towards her. Xia Shui instinctively reached out to catch it. Goblin King's staff. Isn't this the staff she wants? Here you are. Lin Moyu said lightly. It's just a staff, nothing more. Xia Shui froze on the spot for a long time before saying, thank you. Then she was puzzled again, why don't you use it yourself? Lin Moyu took out the Goblin King's magic book, I use this. Spellbooks and staffs are mage weapons, but most mages choose staffs. After all, in addition to being majestic, the staff can sometimes block and perform simple physical attacks. The magic book doesn't have this function. Relatively speaking, the wand is more practical for most mages. This is the experience everyone has summed up. Xia Shui didn't understand, but the staff is more practical than the magic book. Lin Moyu shook his head, I don't like staffs. This reason made Xia Shui unable to refute. It turned out to be because of this reason. She thought on it. From the beginning to the end, she didn't see Lin Moyu take out the magic book at all. Perhaps the magic book has such a little bonus, he doesn't use it at all. Lin Moyu didn't know Xia Shui's inner thoughts, he was checking his upgraded attribute changes. Name, Lin Moyu. Occupation, Necromancer, unique. Level, 15, 8%. Power, 200. Agility, 200. Spirit, 800, plus 20. Physique, 200, plus 20. Equipment, Goblin King's Magic Book, Knowledge Robe. Summon Space, 84/150, Skeleton Warriors, Quantity, 84. Talent, Comprehensive Amplification, Level 2, Unique. Passive Skill, Damage Transfer. Active Skills, Soul Flame, Level 15, Summon Skeleton Warrior, Level 15, Corpse Burst, Level 1. Comprehensive Amplification, Level 2. The effects of all skills are increased by 20 times. Damage Transfer, all damage suffered by the wizard itself is borne by the summoned object. Soul Flame, Level 15, burns the target's soul, causing burning damage. The power depends on one's own spiritual power and skill level. Summon Skeleton Warrior, Level 15, summon a bronze rank Skeleton Warrior. Corpse Burst, Level 1, detonate the corpse, and cause damage equal to 10% of the corpse's HP to enemies within 1 meter. Finally promoted to Level 15, the confidence of entering Xiaojing Academy is much greater. It would be best if one can reach Level 16, but if you can't, it shouldn't be a big problem. After reaching Level 15, the speed of experience improvement slows down again. Originally, Lin Moyu predicted that he could increase his experience to about 12%, but the result was only 8%. Although there are two people forming a team, Xia Shui used part of the experience. It is indeed very slow. Lin Moyu calculated in his mind. Xia Shui's primary cooling talisman can also allow the two of them to brush 3 rounds of dungeons in a row. At his speed, 3 rounds of dungeons would take half an hour. Then there will be 2 natural cooling periods. It's not that you can still brush 5 copies. Of course, Xia Shui must be brought with him for the last 2 times. Since it was agreed, Lin Moyu couldn't simply abandon her. 5 times in a 2-person team should be enough to reach level 16. Looking at the Goblin King who fell on the ground, Lin Moyu said lightly, "I'm sorry, I might kill you 5 more times." Xia Shui was surprised to see Lin Moyu talking to the Goblin King. "Why are you talking to the boss? It doesn't understand." Lin Moyu said softly, "I just want to say it, it doesn't matter whether he understands or not." Xia Shui was even more surprised. "Then why do you say that?" Lin Moyu did not answer Xia Shui's question. For some reason, Xia Shui thought of the scene of Lin Moyu saying sorry to the boss just now, and suddenly felt that Lin Moyu was kind of cute. Just ask who would say sorry to the boss so seriously. Isn't the dungeon just for brushing? Isn't the boss just for killing? Although the bosses of those advanced dungeons had to be killed countless times, in the same way, countless professionals died in their hands. There's nothing to say sorry for. What a weirdo, and kinda cute. Xia Shui suddenly laughed out loud. Lin Moyu gave her a weird look. "Let's go." "Okay, let's continue." Leaving the instance, Xia Shui directly used the primary cooling talisman. Only 10 seconds later, the two entered the nightmare level mine instance again. Coming in for the second time, Xia Shui seemed to be a different person. When running with Lin Moyu, her whole person is in a state of excitement. The excitement on her face made Lin Moyu feel a little weird. As for being so excited? Isn't it just pulling a wave of monsters and blowing up a wave of monsters? It's just a primary dungeon, so it's not special. His weird eyes were also caught by Xia Shui. Xia Shui's young lady's temper also followed. "What are you looking at? You never seen a beautiful woman before." Lin Moyu has seen her for several years. "I have to say, she is really beautiful." Comparing Xia Shui and Ningyi, the two have their own merits, and it is difficult to distinguish between them. One petite and cute. The other tall and arrogant. Each is special. But Lin Moyu didn't feel anything. Ningyi is his friend, and Xia Shui is his classmate. 10 minutes later, the mighty nightmare boss, the king of goblins, fell in front of Lin Moyu again. That unwilling look in his eyes, the aggrieved way to die. Lin Moyu said softly, "For more times." The two brushed the dungeon 4 times in a row, and it took less than an hour all up. Xia Shui cleared the number of uses of the talisman. The talisman became dimmed, becoming no different from ordinary stones. Only if you look carefully, you can vaguely see some runes inside. Xia Shui put away the cooling talisman. The talisman is going back to recharge. Cooling talismans are not disposable items. After the number of uses is exhausted, it needs to be recharged. However, according to Xia Shui, the charging process is very complicated. It requires an advanced alchemist to complete the recharge. As for how advanced it is, she doesn't know. After brushing 4 dungeons in a row, Xia Shui's level has reached level 14, with 20% experience. If you brush it twice more, you will definitely be able to reach level 15. And Lin Moyu is still at level 15 at this time, and his experience has reached 85%. After level 15, 2 people team up to brush a dungeon, which can only increase experience by 26%. The efficiency is indeed several times slower. There is still 1.5 days before the big exam, which is enough for them to do 2 dungeons. Xia Shui looked excited. Being able to reach level 15 before the big exam, I will go to Xiaojing Academy, I'm sure. Lin Nerd, are you about to level up? Lin Moyu nodded, soon. For now, Xia Shui has no intention of comparing herself with Lin Moyu. At that time, you will be at level 16, and I will be at level 15. This year, 2 of us in Shihai City will be admitted to Xiaojing Academy. I think Principal Liu will wake up laughing from his dreams. It is a great honor for all high school principals to have a student admitted to Xiaojing Academy. Everyone knows how difficult Xiaojing Academy is to get into. Only geniuses can be admitted to Xiaojing Academy. Only those who enter Xiaojing Academy can be called the top talent. Xiaojing Academy only recruits 1,000 people each year, which is 1,000 people in the entire Xinxia Empire. Moreover, many of these places are occupied by some big cities and big families. It is difficult for people from small cities to compete with the talents of these big families. Last year, Lin Mohan was admitted to Xiaojing Academy, and Principal Liu Yun celebrated for several days. A few years ago, Su Qianqing entered Xiaojing Academy and achieved the reputation of being a genius, and it is still talked about by Liu Yun. All in all, it is a matter of supreme honor to be able to enter Xiaojing Academy. The 2 found a place to sit on the ground. The cooling amulet is used up, so we can only wait for the cooldown time of the copy to end. Xia Shui said, "Boy Lin, do you want to try to win the number 1 prize?" Lin Moyu turned his head and asked, "The provincial champion?" "Yeah." Xia Shui said, "If you can become the provincial champion, you can get a lot of points. In Xiaojing Academy, points are very useful. The most important thing is that you have the opportunity to join the School of Creative Theology." Lin Moyu thought of what Ningyi said, in Xiaojing Academy, points are more useful than gold coins. And Ningyi also mentioned Creation Seminary. Do you know about the Creation Seminary? Lin Moyu hoped to get some information about Creation Theological Academy from Xia Shui. Ningyi just mentioned it, but didn't elaborate. She also said that he will naturally know when he arrives at Xiaojing Academy. Xia Shui's curled legs, "I don't know the details, I just heard my dad mention it. Xiaojing Academy should be the most powerful academy in our Xinxia Empire. Xiaojing Academy recruits all the elites of Tianjiao, while those in Creation Theological Academy are the top figures among them all. Dad said that it was difficult to get into Creation Seminary, and said that there was a high probability that I would have no chance, but I think you have a chance, you can try it. I heard that Senior Su Qianqing has been admitted to Chuangshan Academy before, and she is the only one in our Shihai City." Xia Shui looked at Lin Moyu with dazzling eyes. She really felt that Lin Moyu had a chance. Lin Moyu took her to brush the nightmare dungeon in an unprecedented way. This completely refreshed her cognition. She can no longer compare Lin Moyu's career with what she has learned. "If there is a chance, I will try it." Lin Moyu said in a low voice. He must go to Xiaojing Academy, plus his sister Lin Mohan is there. If there is a chance, he will go to Chuang Theological Seminary to give it a try. Xia Shui's eyes lit up suddenly. She pointed to the entrance of the dungeon and said, "Isn't that Gao Yang?" It was indeed Gao Yang. He was at the gate of the dungeon, as if he was looking for a team. Xia Shui threw a detection technique over, giggling, "I can't tell that this stupid guy is already level 11. It's a pity that he is a knight, so it's hard to find a team. Brushing a copy requires a knight, and a certain level of knight is required. A level 11 knight can't handle the monsters at all in the dungeon. Even if it is an ordinary copy, at least a level 13 knight is required." Sure enough, Gao Yang searched around but couldn't find the team. His face was full of disappointment. Lin Moyu said, "Take him with you." Xia Shui giggled, "I'm fine." Xia Shui called Gao Yang over. Gao Yang's eyeballs rolled quickly, revealing a meaningful smile. "You too." Xia Shui said coldly, "Shut your mouth, or I will tear you up." Xia Shui is famous for her arrogance. It's only when she is with Lin Moyu that she restrains herself a bit. After all, Lin Moyu is colder. If she is more arrogant, then the 2 of them don't need to talk. Facing Gao Yang at this time, her young lady's temper can be seen at a glance. Gao Yang was startled. He scratched his head. Just kidding, don't take it seriously." Xia Shui said, "Don't look for a team anymore, when the cooldown period for the two of us is over, I will take you to clear the books. Before the big exam, you will have no problem reaching level 12. Gao Yang roared excitedly, really, you two are really my benefactors. You know that the school I want to go to is only at the 12th level. What a nice guy. Gao Yang's expression was extremely exaggerated. Xia Shui frowned, if you do this again, I won't take you. Gao Yang immediately surrendered and became serious in an instant. Miss Xia, don't worry, I will be honest. If you point east, I will not go south, if you point north, I will not go east. What a mess, shut up. Xia Shui snorted, a ball of fire appeared on the palm of her hand. If Gao Yang dared to say another word, she would definitely throw this fireball on his face. Gao Yang, tactfully shut up, the villain obeys, but I don't know how long it will take for you two to cool down. Xia Shui counted the time, there are still 10 hours. 10 hours is a bit long, but Gao Yang knows that he may not be able to find a team in 10 hours. Okay, both of you have a good rest and chat, I'll go brush wild monsters. Come on Moyu, I am optimistic about you. Take Xia Shui sooner or later. After speaking, he ran away. Xia Shui stomped her feet angrily, and threw a fireball straight away. With a bang, the fireball exploded behind Gao Yang's butt, and a little spark splashed on him. Ah! Gao Yang was so hot that he screamed loudly, and ran away without a trace while clutching his buttocks. Xia Shui stomped her feet angrily, this guy, his mouth is too cheap, he doesn't want to test me. Lin Moyu deeply felt the same, but he had to admit that Gao Yang was a nice person. When others alienated and shunned Lin Moyu, only Gao Yang took the initiative to talk to him. Even though his own response was rare, Gao Yang never got disheartened or negative. Lin Moyu believes that his feelings are not wrong. Gao Yang is a sincere person but also very cheeky. After 10 hours, Gao Yang joined the team. Lin Moyu is the captain and enters the nightmare level dungeon. As soon as he entered the dungeon, Gao Yang was the first to become paralyzed on the ground. Hey, Miss Xia, Boss Lin, how did you get into the nightmare difficulty? Xia Shui snorted, stop talking nonsense, just follow along, and you don't need to fight monsters. Ah? Gao Yang showed puzzlement, panic, fear and other expressions. Xia Shui wondered if it was the same when she came in for the first time. At that time it seemed that I was terrified enough. For the sake of his own life, Gao Yang followed Xia Shui closely, not daring to take a step away. This is a nightmare level of difficulty, his little life will be ended by the monsters in it. 10 minutes later, Gao Yang looked at the dead boss, but still couldn't close his mouth. This is dead? Xia Shui looked at him, can you shut your mouth, the saliva is dripping down. Gao Yang wiped the corners of his mouth, and suddenly hugged Lin Moyu's thigh. Boss Lin, can you take me with you when you brush dungeons in the future, I'll follow your every word. Xia Shui was helpless, why are you so spineless, you are a knight, can you have a bit of chivalry? Gao Yang shouted, what's the use of chivalry? What do knights do with Boss Lin around? Xia Shui really had nothing to respond with, so she simply gave up the argument. A faint white light shone on Lin Moyu's body. He has completed the upgrade. Level 16 is already good enough to enter Xiaojing Academy. After brushing the dungeon again, Xia Shui can also reach level 15, and she is also quite sure of being admitted to Xiaojing Academy. As for Gao Yang, his goal is the Jiaoning Academy in this province. It is also a good institution of higher learning, and the requirements are much lower than those of Xiaojing Academy. A level 12 knight is already well qualified to enter. The sun is setting, pulling everything out of long shadows. On the city wall of the south city of Shihai City, several principals stood together, looking at the wild area outside the city wall. It's time for the kids to come back. Tomorrow is the day of the big exam. I told them that they must return today. I don't know what the results of the big exam will be tomorrow. Most people should be fine, it's just the difference between a good school and a bad school. Old Lu, those two geniuses in your school, I heard that they both are targeting Xiaojing Academy. Lu Yun looked into the distance without blinking. Yes. Mou and Xia Shui both want to enter Xiaojing Academy. Xiaojing Academy is the most competitive. According to the standards of previous years, at level 15 chances of entering are improved. At level 16, one can almost guarantee that nothing will go wrong provided they perform well in the big exam. It's difficult. There is still hope for them to reach level 15, but reaching level 16 is extremely rare. In Shihai City, apart from Su Chanxing, only Lin Mohan reached level 16, and that was only last year. I don't know if there is any hope for these two little guys this year. Lu Yun nodded. Trust in them. Lin Moyu and Xia Shui, one is Lin Mohan's younger brother, and the other is the daughter of the Xia family. Lu Yun felt that these two people might be able to create miracles. Finally, someone appeared in sight. A principal said, "It belongs to our number 3 middle school." Under the detection technique, the level of the visitor can be seen at a glance. Su Zhen, level 12, sword fighter. The principal was very satisfied. Grade 12 was enough to be admitted to a better institution of higher learning. Su Zhen is also a somewhat well-known figure in the number 3 middle school, and he is called one of the geniuses there. My student Wan Ming, from No. 2 middle school, is also back. Wan Ming, level 13, eagle-eyed archer. The students returned one by one, and the principals continued to use detection techniques on the city wall. This time of year is actually a pre-exam competition for principals. A contest of face and status. The students returned one by one, and the principals competed with each other. At least so far, no one can really gain the upper hand. The students who came back basically concentrated in the 10th to 13th grades. Not even a single level 14 student had appeared. Xia Shui, Lin Moyu, and Gao Yang, why didn't any of them come back? As the sky was getting darker, Lu Yun was a little anxious. His face also became serious. Logically speaking, all 3 of them should be back. Did something happen? Finally, before night completely fell, Lu Yun saw 3 figures. They're coming, they are finally back. A smile appeared on Lu Yun's face. The result is not important, as long as you come back safely. The detection technique flew out one by one with the breeze. Gao Yang, level 12, Knight of Sword and Shield. Xia Shui, level 15, Elemental Mage. The headmasters showed surprise one by one. She really did it, Xia Shui has really reached level 15. In this way, there is at least an 80% chance of being admitted to Xiaojing Academy. No, it should be said that as long as the performance in the final exam is not bad, she will be able to enter. The last Lin Moyu. The principals are all professionals with a level of 40 or above in the second turn, and their level is far higher than that of Lin Moyu. So shield badges are not valid for them. Lin Moyu, level 16, Necromancer. Hiss, the headmasters all gasped one by one. Lin Moyu has really reached level 16, one level higher than Xia Shui. This speed is too fast. He must be brushing copies. The sword and shield in Gao Yang's hands, and the staff in Xia Shui's hands are all weapons of the Goblin King, but the weapon drop rate is very low. It is not easy to collect all the corresponding weapons and equipment. Maybe they're lucky. When Lin Moyu and others walked back to the city wall, Lu Yun said, "After you enter the city, wait in the bus. When everyone is assembled, we will send you back to school together." All 3 heard Lu Yun's words, only Gao Yang responded loudly, "Thanks, principal." Lu Yun laughed straight away, he was in a good mood. In this comeback competition, he won in front of all the principals. And this time, Lin Moyu and Xia Shui may both be admitted to Xiaojing Academy. It is a very honorable thing for Shihai City and number 1 middle school. As the principal, he has a bright face. When all the students came back, Lu Yun also got into the bus. In fact, it is the teacher's greatest gratification that the students came back safely. Everyone have a good rest tonight, gather at the school tomorrow morning, and we will go to the test center. The test center of the big test is not in the school, nor in Shihai City. but in Jianghai City, the provincial capital. The difference between Shihai City and Jianghai City is only one letter. Shihai City is just a medium-sized city in Jiangning province that is not too conspicuous. Jianghai City is the provincial capital. One of the real large cities. Every year, the big exam will be held in Jianghai City. At that time, the examiners of the Xinxia Empire will conduct the examination uniformly. This night, Lin Moyu continued to meditate. He proceeded according to his own thinking, and didn't take the big exam particularly seriously. He is confident that he will enter Xiaojing Academy. If there is a chance, he will aim for the provincial champion. There was not much pursuit of this before. He just wanted to simply enter Xiaojing Academy. But after listening to Ningyi and Xiaoshua's words, he became slightly interested in Creation Seminary. Early the next morning, Lin Moyu woke up on time. His mental strength has fully recovered, and his whole person is in peak condition. A total of 100 skeleton warriors are quietly staying in the summoning space, waiting for his call at any time. After a 20-fold increase, the 4-dimensional attribute of each bronze-level skeleton warrior reaches 5,000. There are also 2 skills of his own Soul Flame and Corpse Burst. These things let Lin Moyu be calm and confident. When I came to the school playground, many students had already arrived. Gao Yang waved his hand vigorously at Lin Moyu. Boss Lin. Lin Moyu walked over and nodded slightly towards Gao Yang as a greeting. Although Lin Moyu is the most talented in the class, because of his character, he was not very popular among his classmates. And because of his profession as a necromancer, the students were a little afraid of him. After a while, Xiaoshue also arrived. Xiaoshue's popularity is much higher than that of Lin Moyu, and the students gathered around Xiaoshue. Xiaoshue came to Lin Moyu uncharacteristically. Are you confident? Lin Moyu nodded slightly as an answer. Xiaoshue smiled, then we'll see you at Xiaojing Academy. Good. Lin Moyu also said softly. After all the people arrived, Lu Yun came over. This is a teleportation stone for the test site, everyone has one piece. In a while, everyone can crush the teleportation stone, or use the spiritual power to stimulate the teleportation stone. The teleportation stone will take everyone to the examination room. Let me repeat one thing first. During the exam, the first thing everyone must consider is their own safety. Safety first. Okay, let's start teleporting now. The students activated the teleportation stone one by one, and disappeared with a flash of light. After everyone left, Lu Yun also activated the teleportation stone and went to the test center in Jianghai City. The test center was extremely empty, like a huge square. Candidates from more than a dozen cities, large and small, in Jiangning province have been sent over one after another. Thousands of people took part in this test in more than a dozen cities. The transmission lights kept going and going. Candidates in Shihai City were all distributed in the same area. After half an hour, the transmission lights finally stopped. Under the gaze of thousands of eyes, a tower descended from the sky. The trial tower is open. The majestic voice resounded throughout the square. The gate on the first floor of the tower opened slowly amidst the roar. All candidates, please listen carefully to the exam rules. You are not allowed to speak out, and you are not allowed to ask questions. Violators will be directly disqualified from the exam. You are not allowed to ask questions. What if you don't understand? A few whispered. At this time, the trial tower suddenly shot out several rays of light and fell on these people. These people disappeared immediately. Then the majestic voice said, if you violate the rules, you will be disqualified from the exam. Wow! The faces of thousands of candidates changed drastically, and they covered their mouths one after another. The rules are so strict. It's not okay to just whisper inaudibly. At this moment, the audience was extremely quiet, and a needle could be heard falling. Even their breathing has become cautious. After so many years of preparation, it would not be worth it if we were eliminated in the final stretch. Lin Moyu remembered that Lu Yun had told them repeatedly before. In the big exam, you must follow the rules of the big exam. The rules of the big exam are very strict, and they are absolutely not allowed to be violated, even the slightest. He could do it naturally, and looked towards Gao Yang. I'm afraid Gao Yang won't be able to do it. Not letting him speak is probably more uncomfortable than killing him. Sure enough, Gao Yang was covering his mouth hard. He was also afraid that he could not control his mouth. This guy is kind of self-aware. Lin Moyu laughed in his heart, and there was no need to worry about Gao Yang. The majestic voice appeared again. The trial tower arranges different test scenarios for different profession types. Auxiliary occupations will have non-combat scenes. The main battle class will arrange the main battle scene. After passing the basic exam, each occupation will have the right to choose the difficulty. Different difficulties and different grades will result in different points. The points are your exam results, and they are also the points you can bring to higher education institutions in the future. In institutions of higher learning, points are more important than gold coins. Finally, let me talk about the exam rules. The equipment you carry with you can be used normally. Other than that, any props cannot be used. Once discovered, the qualification for the exam will be directly disqualified. After entering the trial tower, your storage space will be blocked. The majestic voice explained the rules of the exam in detail. As long as the IQ is normal, there is generally no case of misunderstanding. The few people who just started muttering are really talking too much and asking for it. Now, all candidates line up to enter the tower. Everyone lined up one by one to enter the trial tower. The order is very good and everyone is very disciplined. Even the second-generation ancestors who are the eldest young master and eldest young lady at home do not dare to mess around at this time. The big exam is the most important exam of the Xinxia Empire every year, not only in Jiangning province, but also in all major provinces across the country. More than 100,000 people will take the test on this day. The upper echelons of the empire will also stare at this exam. Anyone who dares to mess around in the exam will be disqualified. Wang Zihao was also in the crowd. As the young president of the Dynasty Guild, he is always arrogant and domineering on normal days. When will he get in line honestly? But today, he didn't dare to mess around in the slightest. Lin Moyu followed the team into the tower. He had removed his shield badge before setting off. When entering the tower, a light shone on him, and then he was teleported to an independent space. This is as he guessed. The trial tower is like a dungeon. Entrants will be sent to different spaces. On the top floor of the trial tower stood several majestic and imposing middle-aged men. Several people were dressed in the outfits of support, warrior, and mage, and there were various professions. None are below level 70. They are the examiners in charge of the Jiangning provincial examination. Lin Moyu, level 16, Necromancer? A picture of Lin Moyu appeared in front of them. This is the new occupation reported by Shihai No. 1 Middle School. It's been a long time since I saw a new profession. The last time a new profession appeared was more than 30 years ago. Yes, more than 30 years ago, a new class called Elf Envoy appeared. It belongs to the main battle class of the control type, and it is designated as a rare class. Necromancer. Judging from the information reported by No. 1 Middle School, it should be a summoning mage. Look at the intensity of this new profession and hope it doesn't disappoint us. It shouldn't be worse, at least it won't be weaker than rare occupations, otherwise it's impossible to upgrade to level 16. Let's deal with it according to the rules of rare level mages first, and make a record. After discussing with several people, they determined the method of Lin Moyu's exam. A monster appeared before Lin Moyu's eyes. This monster has a wolf's head but wears a robe. He even held a staff in his hand. This is a mage monster. Just don't know how strong it is. There is a light curtain between Lin Moyu and the mage monster. Detection cannot pass through this light curtain. Lin Moyu has no information about this mage monster for the time being. Examination mission: kill the wolf orc mage. No further information was given. A countdown appeared on the light curtain. Lin Moyu is also ready. A skeleton warrior appeared beside him. 3, 2, 1. The moment the light curtain disappeared, the skeleton warrior rushed towards the wolf-orc mage. But Lin Moyu's soul flame is one step faster. Almost at the same time that the light curtain disappeared, it landed on top of the wolf-orc mage. The wolf-orc mage fell to the ground with a scream. Died? Lin Moyu was speechless for a while, the intensity was too low. At this time, several examiners on the top floor of the tower showed shock. What kind of skill is this? Instakill, how can he instakill? Is there a problem with the data? Is the setting wrong? The setting is correct. It is set according to the rare level professional, and the monster level is 2 levels higher than the professional. Different levels and different main combat occupations face different monsters. The monsters that rare professionals have to face are all 2 levels higher than themselves. Advanced professionals face monsters that are higher than their own level. Other professionals are monsters of the same level as themselves. Mage versus mage monsters, warrior versus warrior monsters. The type is also the same. Although they can win the battle, there is no one comparable to Lin Moyu. In the test, the combat skills of the professionals were tested in depth. Although the level is a little higher, it is not a problem for qualified professionals. This setting has been used for many years without any problems. Generally, the battles are as short as 10 seconds and as long as half a minute. It can also see the combat ability of professionals. But there is a problem with Lin Moyu. He killed it instantly. How can we tell the strength of his combat skills? What to do? An examiner asks a question. Everyone looked at the middle-aged man in the mage robe. He is the one who decides the exams for mages. But now he can't make up his mind. The effect that should be achieved has not been achieved, which is a headache. At this time an old man appeared in the room. Master Ning, why are you here? Several examiners immediately saluted the visitor. Ning Xianfeng said in a deep voice, I heard that there is a new professional this year, let me take a look. A picture of Lin Moyu appeared in the light curtain, and Ning Xianfeng looked at it. He looks like a nice young man. Several examiners immediately explained what happened just now. Ning Xianfeng said in a deep voice after listening, you all want to know how powerful the new profession of necromancer is. According to the setting of a rare professionals, his strength cannot be measured. Then set it according to the strength of a legendary professional, and give him a second test. Some examiners objected, but it's not fair to him, and how to calculate the points. Ning Xianfeng smiled and said, this kind of situation has not happened before. There have been professionals who killed monsters in seconds. This time it's a special matter. First, identify him as the first place in this exam, and give him 100 points for first place. For the second exam, if he can pass, give him an extra 1,000 points. The extra points can be paid by me personally. All the examiners said quickly, Master Ning, you are joking, how can we spend your points? That's right, we have points, so we will do as you said and add a second exam. Lin Moyu waited for a moment, and a light curtain appeared in front of him again. A monster appeared again on the opposite side of the light curtain. The appearance of the monster is exactly the same as before, but the breath is stronger this time. Candidates are asked to take the second test and kill the monster in front of them. There was a second exam. Lin Moyu didn't find it strange. I think it's okay to rule that. Little did he realize that he was being treated differently. When the light curtain disappears, the soul flame is activated. The mage monster in front of him screamed and died instantly again. Exactly the same as before. Another spike. The examiners were surprised for the second time. Still can't see anything as far as his skills. The strength of the legendary class, the monster has surpassed the legendary professional level. The mage monster that Lin Moyu killed just now had attributes set according to level 20 monsters. The result is still spiked. This skill is too strong. Is there any powerful equipment on him? He's only level 16, and he has no powerful equipment, just pure skills. What should I do? Do you want to continue the test? Everyone turned their attention to Ning Xianfeng. Since his arrival, he has been in charge here. Ning Xianfeng shook his head and said, "No need, let's take the second round of exams." At this point, everyone has finished the first round of exams. The majestic voice echoed in his ears. Candidates in the main battle category, the first round of exams is over. The number of people who took the test was 632, and the number of people who passed was 522. Now announcing the results. Everyone has a ranking in front of their eyes. Lin Moyu, 0.1 second, points, 100. Sui 3.2 seconds, points, 70. Xia Shui, 5.2 seconds, points, 40. Lin Moyu ranked first. The time only took 0.1 seconds. The second place was a professional named Sui Mei with a time of 3.2 seconds. Xia Shui ranked third with a time of 5.2 seconds. Wang Zihao, the young president of the Dynasty Guild, ranked fourth with a time of 5.5 seconds. The points for the top three are 100, 70, and 40 respectively, and starting from the fourth place, all are 10 points. When Wang Zihao saw this ranking, he was furious. How could I not even enter the top three? The number one should be me. 0.1 seconds, what a joke, it must be a mistake. This result is against the sky. Not only Wang Zihao had such an idea, many people feel incredible after seeing Lin Moyu's results. Xia Shui looked at the rankings, boy Lin is so good, I won't admit defeat. Gao Yang had an exaggerated expression on his face. Boss deserves to be the boss, he's too good, they can't accept it. Lin Moyu touched his nose subconsciously, is it too much? What he didn't expect was that more than 100 people were eliminated in this round of seemingly not difficult exams. The majestic voice sounded again. The second round of exams for the main combat occupations is about to begin, and candidates can choose their own difficulty level. Attention, there may be casualties in the second round of exams, candidates are requested to do what they can. If you encounter danger during the exam, you can yell to give up, and your exam will be terminated. The score is based on the score when you give up. The requirements for the second round of exams were stated again. The second round of exams is the same as the dungeon rank system, divided into 3 levels of difficulty, normal, nightmare, and hell. The points obtained by killing monsters with different difficulties are different. You can get 1 point for killing a monster on normal difficulty, 3 points on nightmare difficulty, and 5 points on hell difficulty. The unified time is 30 minutes. The second round of the test is 30 minutes long. Whoever gains the most points by killing monsters will win. Wang Zihao chose the difficulty of hell without even thinking about it. In his opinion, killing 1 monster on hell difficulty would require killing 5 monsters on normal difficulty. Besides, he has great confidence in his combat power. The first place kid, even if you win the first round, don't try to beat me in the second round. Wang Zihao held a giant saber in his hand, which was his professional weapon. Hey, someone chose the difficulty of hell. Wang Zihao, level 16, Berserker. That's right, Berserker is considered a strong player among rare professions. The Berserker's continuous combat ability is good, and he should have achieved good results in this round. Xia Shui thought for a while, and she chose normal difficulty. Elemental mages are not good at melee combat, nor are they good at single-handedly fighting high-intensity monsters without a tank. So she chose normal difficulty, intending to win by quantity. As the third place in the first round, Xia Shui also received the attention of the examiners. In front of them, there is also a real-time picture of Xia Shui. When Xia Shui chose the normal difficulty, they all smiled knowingly. Xia Shui, level 15, Elemental Mage. A smart choice. Although the Elemental Mage has good explosive power, it will be very troublesome if you can't kill the monster before it gets close. Especially when the level is low and the skills are not complete. The second place in the first round of tests, Sui Mei chose the difficulty of hell. Swame, level 16, Stalker. The examiners also paid attention to Swame's choice. After she made a choice, she also gave corresponding comments. Stalker, as a rare assassin class, has a super close combat ability. So whether she chooses Nightmare or Hell, it's a good choice. Indeed, this is also a good seedling. I don't know what difficulty Lin Moyu's Necromancer will choose this time. Now the few people worth watching have made their choices, and only Lin Moyu is left. Lin Moyu had his own judgment after listening to the test rules. In this round of exams, the real test should be everyone's continuous combat capability. A battle that lasts for 30 minutes is a lot of pressure for any profession. However, it's not the same for me. A smile curved the corner of his mouth. Lin Moyu made a choice. I choose Hell difficulty. In fact, for him, the more difficult the better. No matter which skill he has, his power is top-notch. Therefore, the greater the difficulty and the higher the unit points, the greater the benefit to him. An examiner laughed and said, sure enough, he chose the difficulty of Hell. He is both a mage and a summoner. He is not afraid of monsters approaching with summoned objects. And his skills are very powerful. With summons, he can definitely achieve good results on the difficulty of Hell. Actually, most summoners who came to take the exam basically chose the difficulty of Hell. Let us wait and see. Outside the examination room, the principals of all major high schools in Jiangning province gathered together. Old Lu, you're going to post this time. Tisk tisk, 0.1 seconds. This kind of achievement has not been seen for many years. Of the top 3, you, Lao Lu, occupy the second place. You can't do it if you don't want to. One of you is going to make a big splash this time. If Lin Moyu can come back as a provincial champion, Lao Lu, you will go to heaven. Lu Yun's face was flushed, and he was very excited. He did not expect that Lin Moyu could achieve such a good result. I was so excited that I couldn't speak for a while, and my whole body was shaking. All candidates have been selected, and as the countdown ends, the second round of exams begins. A ball of light appeared in front of Lin Moyu. The ball of light is spinning in the air, looking like the entrance and exit of the copy. Then, a monster in armor walked out of the light group and let out a roar. With the thought of Lin Moyu, the skeleton warriors around him had already gone up to meet him. It's just a knife to the monster. At the same time, Lin Moyu's detection technique also fell on the monster. Wolf Orc Warrior, Elite. Level, 13. Power, 500. Agility, 300. Spirit, 150. Physique, 400. These attributes are very weak. Compared with the copy of the West Sea Mine, the monsters of the Nightmare level are much weaker. Lin Moyu figured it out immediately. After all, this is an exam, and you have to adapt to most people. If the monster is too strong, what is waiting is a large-scale failure. In this way, the test will lose its proper meaning. The purpose of the examination is not to eliminate candidates, but to select outstanding talents. The knife of the skeleton warrior has fallen on the wolf. Flesh torn. With just one blow, the wolf was on the verge of death. The wolf was about to counterattack when the second knife fell. Worf the werewolf died tragically. 2 knives. Lin Moyu saw it, pointed his finger, and summoned a skeleton warrior. 2 skeleton warriors stood in front of the light group, one on the left and the other on the right, waiting for the monster to appear. 5 seconds later, the second Worf werewolf appeared. Then the 2 skeleton warriors raised their knives and fell, and another wolf died directly. Too simple. After a few rounds, he has figured out that for every monster he kills, a second one will appear 5 seconds later. This round of exams is about the continuous combat capability of each profession. The examiners were stunned. Why is Lin Moyu's summon so strong? It's stronger than any summoner's summon we've ever seen. And there are 2. This profession is amazing. His skill itself is strong, and the summoned objects are also so powerful. This career is going to heaven. Lin Moyu's side is too boring. 2 skeleton warriors guard the light ball. The monster dies as soon as it comes out, and it can't survive for 0.5 seconds. The examiners no longer wanted to look at it, and turned to look at other professionals. Xia Shui held the staff and cast skills. The normal difficulty she chose. The monsters are not strong. Basically 2 skills can kill 1. She constantly adjusted the strength of her skills, trying her best to reduce the consumption of mental energy. Although it is also a little monotonous, it is similar to Lin Moyu's side. Xia Shui's performance was unanimously approved by all the examiners. Wang Zihao waved his 2-handed sword, and chopped off the wolf head of the wolf in front of him. There was a bloodthirsty look on his face, and the corners of his mouth were even more arrogant. Berserker, as the name suggests. When fighting, sanity decreases, and it is very wild. This is on the basis of not going berserk yet. Once he goes berserk, he may completely lose its mind. I tried my best at the beginning, but I am afraid that the efficiency will be greatly reduced later. I don't know how to allocate physical energy, this needs to be strengthened. Compared to Xia Shui, he's worse. What the examiners value more is not how many you killed, but your ability to adapt to the battle. See how you can last for 30 minutes. Second, look at the difference in combat power between the beginning of the battle and the end. The real big battles tend to last for a while, and if you go up and go all out, then there may be no more. Comparing Wang Zihao and Xia Shui, they already have the answer in their hearts after the test. Xia Shui was obviously better. Like Wang Zihao, Sui also chose the difficulty of hell. Compared with Wang Zihao's open and closed fighting style, Sui used the dexterity of the stalker class to the limit. She has a flexible body, constantly flowing back and forth, left and right, like a ghost, playing with the werewolf in the palm of her hand. And every movement is very straightforward, without any excess, without wasting any energy. The dagger in her hand is fast and accurate, and every shot can cause considerable damage to monsters, and she will use skills when applicable, control the wolf warrior, and even interrupt its skills. Bring your current skills to a very high level. Sui performance was also recognized by the examiner. After a round of observation, several examiners have already understood the situation of each candidate. There is also a standard of judgment in mind. Back to Lin Moyu again. The examiners were speechless for a while. This kid is a bit too much. I also think it's a little too much. This guy actually puts food in his pocket. What does this guy think? Is the sweet potato so delicious? Watching him eat it makes me a little hungry. Lin Moyu was sitting down eating sweet potatoes, bite by bite, slowly. He took out the sweet potato and put it in his pocket before entering the examination room. You can't use the storage space during the exam, what if you get hungry? Now the skeleton warrior was quick to kill, he had nothing to do, so he naturally ate sweet potatoes. Eating during big exams, first ever. Write this down and let his name go down in history. I think this exam is too easy for him. Do you want to make it more difficult? The examiner was so angry that Lin Moyu was so relaxed when others took the exam in distress. However, this result is still far ahead. No matter what, the exam must be fair. Ning Xianfeng hasn't spoken since the exam started. However, it can be seen from his eyes that he is full of interest in Lin Moyu. This little guy is interesting. During the 30 minutes, people kept giving up, and some people were injured and quit. Continuous combat is a severe test for the endurance of every professional. This is not like a dungeon, you can take a rest when you are tired. Only Lin Moyu will be fine even if he dozes off. Out of balance over time, finally, after 30 minutes passed, all the monsters disappeared collectively. It is finally over. If it doesn't end, I won't be able to hold on. It's scary, I'm not this tired after downloading a copy. Most of the people sat slumped on the ground, panting heavily. In just 30 minutes, their physical energy was almost exhausted. Xiaoshue's face was also slightly pale at this time. For 30 minutes, she tried her best to control her skills, saving as much as she could. Her mental power is also almost exhausted. During the big exam, the storage space is blocked, and you cannot use extra medicine to restore your mental strength. It's really hard. It's finally over. I killed more than 200, so that's more than 200 points. At this moment, Wang Zihao was completely paralyzed on the ground. When he got to the back, his efficiency was far from what it was at the beginning. A large amount of physical energy was consumed, and his skills went into cooldown, all of which caused his combat power to drop sharply. I killed more than 50 of them. This hell-level difficulty is really not easy. Among all of them, only Lin Moyu is in the best condition. He spent the 30 minutes like he was watching a play. This round of exams is over. A total of 522 candidates participated in this round of examinations, of which 278 candidates lost their qualifications to continue the examination due to injuries or voluntary abandonment. The remaining 244 candidates are eligible to enter the next round of examinations. Of course, you can also choose to give up. The next round of exams will be more difficult and more intensive, and may be life-threatening. Candidates are asked to choose carefully. Everyone is prompted at the same time, and can choose to give up or continue the exam. Keep going. The next exam will be more difficult and even life-threatening. If you give up at this point, you will feel unwilling. All of a sudden, many people were caught in a dilemma. The examiners all showed smirks. How many people will choose to give up this time? Based on previous years, at least 1/3 of people would choose to give up. This year's pass rate is similar to last year's, and almost 60% have been eliminated so far. A total of 632 main combat professionals took the exam, and there are still 244 left. It seems that it is difficult for them to make a decision. Give them another push and help them make a decision. At this time, the majestic voice sounded again. Even if you give up the exam now, your grades are enough to enter institutions of higher learning. Now I give you 60 seconds to think about it. If you don't make a choice after 60 seconds, the default is to continue. This sentence was like the last straw that broke the camel's back, completely breaking down the psychological defenses of many people. I choose to give up. I quit. I can't continue anymore. If I continue, I will die. Many students chose to give up. There are also more people who choose to continue. We have come to this point, what a pity not to continue. Of the 244 candidates who successfully passed the second round, more than 60 of them chose to retire. There were only 180 people remaining that decided to continue the exam. Although they chose to withdraw, their ability to pass the second round of the big exam has already proved their strength. It is no problem to enter ordinary institutions of higher learning. But the remaining students are all aiming at those top-ranked institutions of higher learning. The rankings after the second round will be announced below. 1. Lin Moyu, total points, 1,605 points. 2. Suimei, total points, 470 points. 3rd, Xiaoshui, 270 points. 4th, Wang Zihao, 265 points. Wang Zihao jumped up and shouted loudly, "This is impossible, how could he have so much points?" 30 minutes, based on the frequency of one monster every 5 seconds, there are at most 12 monsters per minute. Hell difficulty, each monster has 5 points, and a maximum of 60 points can be obtained in 1 minute. The 30-minute limit is 1,800 points. Factors such as the time to fight monsters must also be taken into account. Generally speaking, you can get 200 to 400 points. Someone like Suimei, who can score 400 points and kill 80 monsters, is considered very good. Lin Moyu got 1,505 points. It means that he killed 301 monsters. 10 of them are killed every minute, which is just a little short of the limit of 12. At this moment, a thought came to everyone's mind: is this guy a monster? Wang Zihao even felt that Lin Moyu was cheating, but he dared not say it at all. If he said this, he would offend the entire upper management of the Xinxia Empire. There is no one who dares to cheat in the big exam. No one has ever dared to try it, it would be death. The entire exam is under full monitoring, and cheating is impossible. Outside the examination room, Lu Yun jumped up. An old face is redder than before. With an excited heart and trembling hands. The cup in his hand kept shaking, spilling all the water outside. Old Lu, this student of yours is a bit perverted. Indeed, very perverted. Lu Yun could not wait to scold back. You are the ones who are perverted, your whole family is perverted. Now he really wants to know how Lin Moyu did it. In his memory, no one has ever achieved this achievement. Back then, Su Qianxing was so talented that he scored 700 points in the second round. Last year's Lin Mohan scored 650 points. Lin Moyu's grades are higher than both of them combined. The trial tower shot out beams of light on the candidates who chose to continue. Under the radiance of light, fatigue disappeared and mental strength recovered. In the blink of an eye, the state was fully restored. Next, the third round of exams will take place. This round of exams also has 3 levels of difficulty. You will face a boss-level monster. Normal difficulty, 100 points. Nightmare difficulty, 300 points. Hell-level difficulty, 500 points. The rules are pretty much the same as last time. The last test was the continuous combat capability. This test is the ultimate combat ability of the individual. A boss-level monster that requires you to fight one-on-one. In the unassisted state, it is not a small challenge for every professional. Lin Moyu was the first to make a choice this time. I choose Hell level. The examiners saw Lin Moyu's choice and started discussing again. As expected, this kid really chose the difficulty of Hell. With the strength of his skills and the strength of the summons, he must be the number 1 this time. It seems that the champion of Jiangning province this time will be him. It's hard to say, there are still 2 rounds to come, especially the 5th round. They have presided over many big exams, and have seen many people come back against the wind. Although Lin Moyu's performance is very strong so far, it is not completely certain that he will be the provincial champion. The gap between Wang Zihao and Lin Moyu has reached more than 1,300 points. He originally came for the provincial champion title, but in the end he couldn't even make the top 3. The first place is mine. There are 2 more rounds to come. I won't lose. After the big exam is over, don't let me see you, or I will make you look useless, Wang Zihao said viciously, and also chose the difficulty of Hell. Xia Shui and Zhuo Mei also chose the Hell difficulty. I only need to deal with a single monster. Xia Shui's elemental mage and Zhuo Mei's stalker both have extremely strong explosive power, so they are not worried. After everyone has chosen, the examiner announces the start of the 4th round of examinations. A huge monster appeared in front of everyone's eyes. It is still a monster with a wolf's head, belonging to the wolf-orc family. The monster held a sword in each hand, a monster with 2 swords, like a sword fighter among professionals. Wolf-orc captain, boss. Level, 15. Power, 1000. Agility, 800. Spirit, 500. Physique, 1000. Skill, chaotic wind slash. Looking at the data, Lin Moyu felt that it was not worthy of the name. It is said to be Hell-level difficulty, but it is actually greatly weakened. It may be because of the exam, it is far from the difficulty of a Hell-level dungeon. It's only just better than the enhanced elite monster guarding the gate in the nightmare-level Shihai Mine dungeon. It's far from a real boss-level monster. Lin Moyu can understand the Empire's approach. If Hell-level monsters are really released, let alone a boss, even a small monster is not something that ordinary students can deal with. This is an important test, and it is to select living talents, not dead ones. After the battle started, Lin Moyu bored and gave orders. The 2 skeleton warriors rushed up quickly, simultaneously bursting out their skills. Furious blow. Bang bang twice. Captain Wolf Orc fell to the ground and died without even saying a word. Seconds. Another second. The examiners were numb again. Again, another instant kill. The summoned object can use skills. And the power of this skill is not small. Lin Moyu time and time again, too much. He did it like this, and he didn't let others play. Even the boss-level monsters were instantly killed by Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu's strength has been recognized by the several examiners present. Although the monsters they arranged were all weakened, it still is not an existence that can be killed in seconds. He didn't see how hard others were playing. While avoiding the attack of the wolf orc leader, Xia Shui continued to release skills to fight back. Wang Zihao even went head-to-head in hand-to-hand combat, and his blade saw blood. The belligerent attributes of the berserkers are brought into full play. Only Zhou Mei was better, wandering around the monsters and controlling them in various ways. Let's take a look at the professionals who choose other difficulties. Which one is like Lin Moyu? Directly let the two skeleton warriors go up, click twice, and end the battle. Lin Moyu didn't even move from the beginning to the end. I think he can brush those low-level dungeons alone. More than that, he is qualified to solo the dungeon below level 20, even if it is nightmare difficulty. I don't think that's all there is to his combat power. We haven't measured his real combat power. Let's wait for the 5th round of the test. If he wants to be the provincial champion, or even the national champion, he must partake in the 5th round. Maybe we'll see it in time. The examiners discussed much things with each other. The content of the exam was set by the high-level officials of the empire, and they had no right to make changes. The only person present with this authority was Ning Xianfeng, who came from behind. He talked, and there was no more discussions after him, just people watching with interest. Several examiners also found that most of his attention was on Lin Moyu. He seems to be very interested in Lin Moyu. The 3rd round of testing ended very quickly, only 10 minutes after starting. People like Xia Shui, Zhou Mei, and Wang Zihao all successfully killed their opponents and got 500 points. Some succeed and others fail. Another group of the candidates were eliminated and lost the qualification to continue to the next round of examinations. They either gave up on their own, or were forcibly terminated after being injured and lost their combat power. Although these people have been eliminated, their grades are already quite good, and they can enter a good institution of higher learning. Only 120 people successfully passed the 3rd round. The rankings after the 3rd round will be announced below. 1. Lin Moyu, total points, 2,105 points. 2. Zhou Mei, total points, 970 points. 3. Xia Shui, 770 points. 4th, Wang Zihao, 765 points. 67. Gao Yang, 302 points. Lin Moyu saw Gao Yang's name in the ranking. Ranked 67, which is a good result. Being able to persist until now, Gao Yang's mission to enter the Jiaoning Academy is now a certainty. At the same time, Lin Moyu also understands Gao Yang. This guy is also very arrogant in his bones. I have come this far, and I will definitely not give up easily. Needless to say, the 4th round must have his share. Wang Zihao was still ranked 4th. In the 3rd round just now, he knew there was no way to catch up. The 4th round is about to start, and my chance is coming. Holding the saber tightly in both hands, his eyes flashed with fierce fighting intent. The examiner's voice sounded again. The 4th round of exams will follow. The difficulty of the 4th round of exams will continue to increase, and the danger will increase accordingly. Now choose to continue, or give up. With your current grades, it is no longer a problem to be admitted to the top 100 universities in the empire. This time, no one chose to give up. There are no cowards who can persist until this point. The pure white light shone down and fell on everyone. All back to peak condition. Fatigue is gone, attributes are perfect, and skill cooldowns are reset. In that case, I respect your choice. The rules for the fourth round of examination are as follows. Each of you will face 10 waves of monster attacks. The number of monsters in each wave is 10, a total of 100 monsters. The interval between each wave of monsters is 1 minute. Regardless of whether you have eliminated the previous batch of monsters, the next batch of monsters will appear after 1 minute. The last batch of monsters will be led by a boss-level monster. Killing all of them is a pass. Each monster can get 10 points. If you can pass all the levels, the points in this round will be doubled in the end, with a total of 2,000 points. After speaking the rules, a light curtain rose in front of everyone. The first 10 monsters have appeared behind the light curtain. The monsters are just normal monsters, level 13 Dwarf Orcs. 9 of the 10 monsters are fighter monsters, and there is a mage standing at the end. The warrior cooperates with the mage, so the difficulty is greatly increased. Lin Moyu thought about it in his mind. The difficulty was more than a little bit higher. If the ability to clear monsters is not fast enough, you will be besieged by more and more monsters, which will eventually lead to failure. He already understood that this round of tests was about the ability to quickly clear monsters, from basic combat power to endurance to dual ability, and then to the ability to quickly clear monsters, thereby covering the advantages and disadvantages of each profession. This big test is really painstaking. Several examiners were already smiling. They stared at Lin Moyu one by one. This time it's up to you to see how you deal with it. The best way to deal with a summoner is not to destroy the summon, but to destroy the summoner himself. I think Lin Moyu might be in a hurry. However, his summons are strong enough, so it shouldn't be a problem to complete this round. Ning Xianfeng, who had been silent all this time, opened his mouth now. I don't think this round of tests will trouble him. Everyone looked at Ning Xianfeng in surprise. Ning Xuanfeng's words were 70% sure, as if he was very convinced. Although some examiners didn't think so, the status gap was there, they didn't refute it. Anyway, soon the facts will prove who was right and who was wrong. The fourth round of testing has officially begun. A third skeleton warrior appeared in front of Lin Moyu. Then 3 skeletons rushed towards the level 9 and level 13 monsters, one at a time. Instant kill, no suspense. The fire in Lin Moyu's palm flashed, and a flame landed on the head of the mage monster at the back. The same as Spike. From the start of the test, less than 3 seconds. It's almost a matter of breathing. 9 wolf orc warriors and 1 wolf orc mage have been killed. Why does this kid have a third summoned creature? This little bastard, why didn't you let it out in the first place, but only now summon it? Stinky boy, why do you like to hide so much? That is, the stronger you are, the happier we are. Ning Xianfeng showed such an expression that it really did surprise him. Lin Moyu curled his lips unconsciously. This is the so-called big exam, and it's not too challenging. It's not as exciting as the first time he entered the West Sea Mine dungeon. No surprises, it made him sleepy now. Unconsciously, he took out another piece of sweet potato and ate it slowly. If you don't want to watch him, don't look. It doesn't make any sense to look at this kid. That's right, it's better to look at others. As for Lin Moyu, as soon as the wave comes out, it can be resolved within 3 seconds at most, which is really boring. It's much more interesting to watch other people. Xia Shui kept retreating, stepping on a fire path under her feet. The monster stepped on the flames while chasing Xia Shui, and was constantly under attack. Path of Fire. This is a skill that can only be mastered by a mage at level 10. Once used, it will cause fire damage wherever it is laid down. It works very well here. Group attack is the strength of the mage. Although her level is not high, Xia Shui already has 2 group attack skills at this time. The other is Freezing Rain, which has a slowing effect. With the cooperation of the 2 skills, Xia Shui quickly cleaned up the wolf orc warriors. Relatively speaking, Sui Mei worked much harder. Stalkers are explosive, rich in combat skills, and possess many control skills. If it is assassination or one-on-one combat, it is a very good match. The disadvantage is that it is not good at group battles and has no group attack skills. So Zhume seems a little weak here, and can only clean up one by one. Wang Zihao still maintains his open and close fighting style. A huge two-handed sword danced loudly. Either way, it's a good fight to watch. Only Lin Moyu's side, extremely boring. None of the examiners wanted to see him. The time spent in a daze is much more than the time fighting monsters. Don't worry about it, he won the first place again in the 4th round. It depends on whether he dares to participate in the 5th round. Although he is far ahead in points now, if he doesn't participate in the 5th round, he will be caught by the others. In the 4th round of examination, there are 10 monsters in each batch, and a batch appears every 1 minute. Those who move slowly have already begun to face more and more monsters. When 3 minutes passed, someone had already given up on the test. Too many monsters surrounded them. They were teleported to the outside of the trial tower one by one. Being eliminated in the 4th test is not a thing to cause shame, but brings a bit of honor. They are all geniuses, and it is not a problem to enter the top 100 institutions of higher learning in the empire. The eliminated people all looked happy. There were too many monsters, it was too scary. It was so scary, I thought I was going to be eaten. There are so many monsters, how can I kill them that fast? I don't know how many people can pass this round of the exam. I thought I was good enough, but there are people out there way better. Speaking of which, that Lin Moyu is too powerful, I guess we won't be able to beat him this time. After Gao Yang persisted until the 5th batch of monsters appeared, he reached his limit and had no choice but to give up. As soon as he came out, he heard someone talking about Lin Moyu. After holding back for a long time, he finally couldn't help but said, Lin Moyu is my boss, of course he is amazing. Brother, what's your name? It's easy to say, the surname is Gao and the name is Yang, from Shihai No. 1 Middle School. Gao Yang said loudly. It turned out to be Brother Gao. Brother, tell us how good Lin Moyu is. Gao Yang said with a smile, it's easy to talk about, I'll talk to you. He started to chatter, and when he mentioned that Lin Moyu took 10 minutes to complete the nightmare-level dungeon, several people showed expressions of disbelief. How can this be? No one believed it, they all thought Gao Yang was talking big. Gao Yang didn't care if they believed it or not, he just said it himself. They said it's fine to brag, but only within the bounds of reason. As more and more people were eliminated, there were fewer and fewer pictures in the control room at the top of the trial tower. In the end, only 5 people remained. Lin Moyu, Xia Shui, Zhume, Wang Zihao, and Feng Xiu. Feng Xiu, level 15, Holy Swordsman. Several examiners were looking at Feng Xiu at this moment. Feng Xiu waved the long sword in his hand and kept walking in the encirclement of monsters. He was as flexible as Zhume. Although every attack seemed insignificant, the accumulation of small attacks made up a lot of damage, and the Woshan orcs fell to the ground without knowing it. This guy named Feng Xiu has finally begun to show his strength. Let me just say, Holy Swordsman is obviously a rare profession. Why did this guy not show his strength in the beginning? He was waiting for this time. He should be from the Sword Cultivator clan, the Feng clan. So knowing the rules of the big exam and knowing the last 2 rounds is the key to increasing the points. So he's only now starting to exert his strength. The Feng family has participated in the formulation of the rules of the big exam, so they are naturally familiar with it. Hey, Wang Zihao is finally willing to go berserk. He's not stupid, he's counting the time, and now is the best time to go crazy. The 7th batch of monsters appeared. With a roar, Wang Zihao activated the Madness skill. Madness, duration of 5 minutes, strength increased by 500%, constitution increased by 500%, agility decreased by 200%. After the berserk effect disappears, he will enter a weak state, which lasts for 30 minutes. After going berserk, Wang Zihao's attack power will increase several times. However, it could only last for 5 minutes. So he waited until the 7th batch of monsters appeared before turning on madness. 5 minutes is enough. At this time, there were still more than 30 monsters on the field, and with the addition of the 7th batch of monsters, the number reached more than 40. In the berserk mode, Wang Zihao began to destroy the monsters. Every sword sweep can take away 2 or 3 monsters. He started to clear the field quickly. After Lin Moyu waited, the last batch of monsters finally appeared. This time the mage was gone, replaced by a boss-level monster. For Lin Moyu, there is no difference. The skeleton warrior rushed up and threw a mess, and then fell completely silent. For Lin Moyu, the 4th round of exams is over. Just waiting for someone else now. After waiting for 10 minutes, the 4th round of exams was finally over. The 4th round of exams is over. 120 people participated in the 4th round of examinations, and 5 people passed in the end. Wow! The examiner's voice spread throughout the audience, whether it was inside or outside the tower, everyone heard it. Of the 120 people, only 5 remained. It shows that these 5 people are the real geniuses, enough to squeeze into the top institutions of higher learning. At the same time, the ranking of the 5 players was also distributed. The rankings after the 2nd round will be announced below. First, Lin Moyu, total points, 3,605 points. Second, Swimei, total points, 2,470 points. Third, Xia Shui, 2,270 points. Fourth, Wang Zihao, 2,265 points. Fifth, Fengxiu, 2,200 points. Lin Moyu is still far ahead. The light shines on the 5 people, and all states are fully restored. Wang Zihao had already fallen into a weakened state after being berserk, but under the light, the weak state disappeared, and the berserk skill could be used again. Everything is as expected. The 5th round is when the winner will be decided. Wang Zihao held a big knife with a smile on his face. Xia Shui let out a long breath. I'm in the top 5, it should be no problem to enter Shaojing Academy. Swimei looked solemnly. Shaojing Academy, I'm here. Without exception, the targets of the 5 were all Shaojing Academy. The examiner's voice sounded again. I know you all want to go to Shaojing Academy. But Shaojing Academy is not so to enter. Don't think that you can sit back and relax after getting the top 5. There is still the last round of exams. If you don't perform well enough, you will be eliminated. If you want to enter Shaojing Academy, use your points to speak for yourself. As long as you can get 10,000 points, I guarantee you can get in. Listen carefully to the rules of the 5th round of exams. All 5 of them pricked up their ears and listened carefully. The 5th round of testing has its own name. It is called the battle space. They will each be sent into a special space. There will be a steady stream of various monsters in it. There will be fighters, mages, archers, and knights. All types of monsters that can be imagined will appear in it one by one. And the number is very large. The first batch will be over 100. Later, there will be enhanced elite bosses, and even elite bosses. The faster you kill, the more monsters will breed and the faster they will grow. This requires everyone to adjust their attack rhythm. It's not that the faster you kill, the better. The most important thing is the change of points. The changes in the battle space can be divided into 5 stages, and the points in each stage are different. In the first stage, the level of the monsters are 15, and you will get 50 points for killing one. In the second stage, when the monster's level reaches 16, killing one will get 100 points. Every time a monster is upgraded by 1 level, the points will be doubled. In the 5th stage, when the monster level reaches level 19, you can get 800 points for killing one. These are just ordinary mobs. There are enhanced monsters, elite bosses, elite bosses, and even higher chances for points. From this point of view, if Lin Moyu loses in this round of testing, the previous leading advantage will no longer exist. It seems a bit unfair. all previous efforts will be in vain. But Lin Moyu wants to understand that for the real strong, the 5th round is where they can play. The function of the big test is to select geniuses who can stand up for the human race above all. With the end of the countdown, the 5th round of the exam officially began. The 5 remaining people were sent into the fighting space at the same time. In the control room on the top of the tower, the picture of the 5 people also disappeared at the same time. Several examiners showed disappointment. "Oh, this is a broken rule, even we can't see it." That's right, the 5th round of the exam is the most exciting part, but we are not allowed to watch it. With our authority, we can only see the changes in points and make judgments. Master Ning, can you watch it? Several examiners looked at Ning Xianfeng at the same time, with anticipation in their eyes. They were really itchy, especially to see how Lin Moyu would fare in the 5th round. Ning Xianfeng glanced over, and said in a flat voice, "I can't see it." All the examiners suddenly showed shock. "You can't even see? Then who can check it?" Ning Xianfeng nodded. "In the Empire, there are no more than 10 people who have the right to view the video of the 5th round of the exam." The examiners were even more surprised. No more than 10 people, what kind of big man that is, they dare not even think about it. Ning Xianfeng continued, "Anyway, please remember, this is not something you should inquire about. I am in a good mood today, so I will talk to you a few more words." I know. Don't worry, we will definitely not inquire." The examiners are not stupid, and they all realize that things must not be simple. But if you lend them courage now, they dare not inquire. In the entire Xinxia Empire, no more than 10 people have this authority. Just listening to it is scary enough. The battle space is very wide, it is a huge plain. The ground was pitch black and smelled of blood. There are countless rocks, some of which are several meters high. Such an environment gives professionals room for detours. Lin Moyu's nose twitched slightly. The smell of blood is very strong and full of death. This place has experienced unimaginable battles. As a necromancer, Lin Moyu is particularly sensitive to dead energy. It doesn't matter whether it's the copy of Shihai Mine, or the previous rounds of exams. There is no dead air in it. This place is different now, it's a real death lingering air. There have been real life and death battles here, and on a grand scale. The blood soaked the earth, dyed the earth a dark brown, and the smell of blood lingered for years. Is this to let us experience the battlefield in advance? Footsteps sounded, and a group of monsters appeared in sight, at least 50 or 60 meters away. The group of monsters has found Lin Moyu. The monsters roared at the same time and rushed towards Lin Moyu. 10 monsters, not many. Lin Moyu saw in his eyes that the detection technique had already flown out. Fill an orc warrior. Level 15. No more information is available. No attributes, no skills. This is the first time detection has returned so little. Lin Moyu saw a long tail dragging behind the Farron orc warriors. Every film orc warrior is as high as a giant lizard. A giant lizard that can walk upright. The roar resounded throughout the battle space, attracting the attention of other Farron orcs. All of a sudden, several teams of Farron orcs appeared in Lin Moyu's sight. If you switch to another profession, you should encounter a wave with the nearest Farron orcs. Destroy a few of them with full power burst skills, retreat when they form a siege, and conduct roundabout operations. Once caught in the full siege, the result can be imagined. But this kind of tactics is suitable for others, but not for Lin Moyu. The 3 skeleton warriors standing beside him came out at the sound and rushed towards the Furlan orc. The knives went up and down, and the first few film orcs were seriously injured. After being stabbed, the Furlan orc was dying, but not dead. There is still a little vitality left, huh? I couldn't drop it in seconds. This attribute. Lin Moyu was a little surprised that the skeleton warrior didn't kill the Furlan orc in seconds. The physique attributes of the Farron orcs are not low. Their attacks fell on the skeleton warrior, but did not cause much damage to the skeleton warrior. It shows that their power is not strong. This is a monster type with strong physique but weak strength. Lin Moyu made a judgment. If one knife is not enough, then two. A Furlan orc fell to the ground screaming, dead. Lin Moyu's points also changed instantly. From 3605 to 3655 points. Although the picture of the fifth round of the test could not be seen in the control room, the score change could be seen. Lin Moyu started. Killed the first one, it's fast. Then the score jumped again, directly changing from 3655 to 4105. This change shocked the examiners watching his points. They looked at each other alone, not knowing what happened. How could it increase so much all of a sudden? The skeleton warrior kills a feline orc warrior, followed by Lin Moyu with corpse explosion. With a loud noise, this group of film orcs was wiped out. 10 feline orcs added 500 points to Lin Moyu. Then Lin Moyu didn't act anymore, but waited for the remaining Farron orcs to arrive. Since people will rush over, why should I go to such trouble to find the door? There are still 9 corpses here. After they come over, just use corpse explosion directly. But the next second, Lin Moyu was surprised to find that the body was gone. The corpse seemed to have sunk into the pitch-black earth and disappeared. The corpses only exist for a very short time, less than 10 seconds. It turned out to be like this. It looks like the plan is going to change slightly. Looking at the Furlan orc team running from all directions, Lin Moyu released several skeleton warriors. A total of 9 skeleton warriors were released, 1 for each team. The skeleton warrior greeted them proactively with a click sound, and then ran with the Furlan orc team. It's like dragging monsters, gradually bringing them together. 2 minutes later, the mob pull was over. Nearly 100 Farron orcs have gathered together. The skeleton warriors struck at the same time, instantly killing a Furlan orc. The roar was loud in an instant. Lin Moyu almost used corpse burst 7 or 8 times in just 3 seconds. The pitch-black earth trembled. All the feline orc warriors were slaughtered on the spot they stood. Lin Moyu's points also reached 8,605 points in an instant. The control room of the trial tower became lively again. What the hell did Lin Moyu do? Why did his points increase so much all of a sudden? God knows, we can't see things in the battle space. However, Lin Moyu had 3,605 points before and now has 8,605 points, an increase of exactly 5,000 points. It can only be said that the first batch of 100 monsters have been wiped out by him. As for how, we don't know. The examiners looked at each other. You look at me, I look at you. Looking at other people's scores, we really can't compare. After all, Lin Moyu is just a little guy at level 16, no matter how strong his skills are, he can't be so strong. Killing 100 monsters at once is unbelievable when you think about it. Like an elemental mage who is good at group monsters, Xiaoshui's points are raising in 50 or 100 point increments. There is no such thing as Lin Moyu who directly raised 5,000 in a few minutes. Who will believe it? Ning Xianfeng was much calmer than the examiners, but his eyelids were still twitching. Even with his knowledge, it's hard to imagine how Lin Moyu did it. What the hell did this kid do? What kind of profession is a necromancer? Where is his limit? One question mark after another appeared in Ning Xianfeng's heart. At this moment, he is also very curious about what happened in the battle space. It's a pity that he doesn't have enough authority, and he doesn't have the right to view it. It can only be analyzed and judged through integral changes. In the battle space, the corpse disappeared without a trace after only existing for 10 seconds. Lin Moyu quietly waited for the second batch of monsters to appear. This time, it shouldn't be like the 4th round of testing. We have to wait a minute. As soon as the thought fell, a sense of crisis emerged spontaneously. The sky was red, and dozens of fireballs with a diameter of 1 meter fell on the head like meteorites. Lin Moyu was shocked, and the skeleton warriors formed a shield-shaped defense line like a circle, firmly protecting Lin Moyu. The fireball like a meteorite fell on the skeleton warrior, exploding sparks all over the sky, which was very gorgeous. Lin Moyu is well aware of his weaknesses. My physique is too poor. If I suffer a strong attack, a large amount of damage will be transferred to the skeleton warrior. This will cause the skeleton warrior to take great damage. If the skeleton warrior blocked the attacks for himself, the result would be completely manageable. With the strong physique and super high defense of the skeleton warrior, it can almost ignore such little damage. Lin Moyu stood behind the skeleton warrior and saw the orc team appearing in front of him. A group of feline orc mages can swing their wands and unleash a rain of fire attacks. A large number of feline orc warriors are rushing towards them brandishing their weapons. These monsters appeared silently, without any warning. The corner of Lin Moyu's mouth drew an arc. No matter how he appeared, I don't need to wait. The mage monsters continued to release their skills behind them, and the rain of fire never stopped. In order to ensure his own safety, Lin Moyu made 10 skeletons form a shield to block the mage's attack. At the same time, 10 skeletons were released to meet the orc warriors. Skill. An order was issued in the heart, and the hands of the skeleton warriors suddenly lit up with red light. Furious blow. With the strength attribute of the skeleton warrior as high as 5,000, and then using their skills, the attack power is doubled. The film orc warriors were instantly killed one after another. Lin Moyu's palm glowed. There was a loud roar. The corpse exploded and spread wildly. The Furlan orc warrior fell down like cutting rice. In just a few seconds, hundreds of film orc warriors rushing over were already dead. 10 skeleton warriors rushed towards the Farron orc mage like lightning. 5,000 points of agility brings amazing speed. With a huge attribute gap, the skeleton warrior has already appeared as afterimages in Lin Moyu's eyes. In the blink of an eye, the skeleton warrior appeared in front of the Furlan orc mage across a distance of tens of meters. Hands up and down, one knife kills one by one. The physique of the Furlan orc mage was not as good as that of the warrior, and he was killed one by the skeleton warriors. The fire rain disappeared, and everything returned to calm again. Lin Moyu's place is peaceful, and the examiners in the control room of the trial tower still stared wide-eyed. Lin Moyu's points only stopped for more than 10 seconds, and then rose like a rocket again. 14,605 points. In less than 10 seconds, the points increased by 6,000 points at once. This means another 120 monsters were killed by Lin Moyu. Twice now massive amounts of monsters died quickly. The answer has been explained. This guy has group attack skills. This profession is against the sky. The single skill is already abnormal enough, and the group attack skill is also abnormal. Not only are the skills powerful, but the summoned objects are equally powerful. I think this profession has surpassed the legendary level, and can be compared with those few top professions. I can't say that for the time being. After all, the level is still low. It depends on the future growth. Being strong at a low level doesn't mean it will be strong at a high level. Just because it's strong at lower levels, it doesn't mean it guarantees that the profession will be strong at the higher levels. There are even some professions that are not very good for a long time, until they get a certain magical skill, then they become irreplaceable. There is a profession that is usually useless, but once a war breaks out, it is like a god. All of his skills are Legion group skills. With such a professional in a Legion, the combat effectiveness of the whole Legion can be doubled. Lin Moyu didn't know what the examiners thought. At this moment he heard a roar. The whole earth shook several times, like an earthquake. The corpse disappeared in the shock, as if swallowed by the earth. Invisible gas grew from the ground, and the air became even more bloody, even carrying a smell of corpses. It's disgusting. The sky grew darker and darker. The breath was so oppressive that it was hard to breathe. The second stage. Lin Moyu looked at the sky. He seemed to be very comfortable with this breath, and he didn't have any aversion to it. Perhaps his profession has something to do with it. The breath of death did not make him feel uncomfortable. He didn't like the smell that was getting heavier and heavier. The earthquake gradually stopped. Lin Moyu surrounded himself with skeleton warriors, and kept vigilant about his surroundings. A few seconds later, footsteps sounded. "They're here," Lin Moyu said to himself in his heart. A large number of monsters suddenly appeared around. Monsters appeared from all directions, with 5 monsters as a group to form a small team. Fill an orc fighter. Level 16. Fill an orc archer. Level 16. Each team has a ratio of 3 to 2, with 3 fighters and 2 shooters. Both fighters and archers are level 16. There are at least 40 teams scattered around. From a distance, Lin Moyu seems to be surrounded by them. After entering the second stage, not only the level of monsters has increased by 1 level, but the number has also doubled. Lin Moyu is not worried about this. To him, level 16 is just a monster, not even a challenge. Even without exploding corpses, there are only 20 skeleton warriors, and it takes a little time to hack all these guys to death. He was thinking about another question at this time. Based on this level of difficulty, it is very difficult for other professions to pass the second stage. Even if they can break through, it will take a lot of time. The difficulty of the first stage is not high in Lin Moyu's eyes. As long as they spend a little effort, most professionals can break through. The second stage is much more difficult. Just increasing the level by 1, doubling the monsters, these 2 changes are enough to increase the difficulty several times. Coupled with the appearance of archers, archers are known as the natural enemies of mages. This change will put most mage classes off their game.